Could achieve such a sensitive milestone in just 45 days with a team of 60 people. So how could you achieve that? What was the planning behind it and what was your participation in that?
We had the unfortunate incident of Pulwama attack, and they said that the highest armoured vehicle that we have has a capacity of 14, and said we need to design something really fast. We said, okay, we took up the challenge again. In Ashok Leland, there was Mr. Kulgari and there was a DIG from CRPF. We all sat down, brainstormed. We came up with proposals on how it should be, what model to use, all those things we decided. And once we framed the base requirements in a matter of 2 days, we went about designing the product.
Your actual accounting really begins because you have got the year ending at 31st of March. What were the thoughts that ran through your mind that if this also fails, then what was your backup plan?
It was a situation where you were actually pushed into a corner, and that's now when I realize in hindsight, I think some of the best decisions you make are when you're pushed into that corner. See, these decisions can be taken at one time, but execution is very, very difficult.
So do you only delegate responsibility or also delegate authority along with responsibility?
Each level has a particular level of authority that is given to them by default. If I interfere with that level of authority given to them, it clouds their decision-making skills. They have the authority to do that.
What is your leadership style? Because everybody has like a fingerprint, a specific leadership style. What's yours?
I'll say speed, aggression.
Speed and aggression is enough actually. If you're thinking of adding something more.
Yeah, I'll sum it up at speed and aggression.
So hi friends, welcome back again to the Table Talks at Sante. Sante is a very unique restaurant. It's like a community more than a restaurant where people really come to indulge guilt-free. And today we are here for a nice, lovely early dinner. We have got a very interesting menu. But apart from the menu, which is very interesting and exciting, and that is what we are going to be enjoying during our conversation. What is more interesting is we always talk about India being the youngest country in the world. But here on the table today, at the Table Talks at Sante, we have got very young entrepreneurs. They are more than entrepreneurs. They are multinational companies because they deal with more than one country. They have got customers in more than one country. All four of them absolutely young. And this is a promise that India is giving to the rest of the world that yes, India is not only the youngest country, but India has very successful young entrepreneurs. All of them are second generation. And the experiences that they are going to share and the anecdotes that they are going to be sharing is going to be lessons to many of us. So that's the whole objective of this show. And we'll be getting into the show very, very soon. But that seems to be a very interesting monsoon menu. So Sante is also known for creating menus as per the seasons. Rainy season, of course, we'll have a very interesting monsoon menu. We'll be enjoying the food soon. But to begin with the show, I would like to introduce the guest. On my right is Glenn from the Anchor Mark company. That's all of them are second generation entrepreneurs. So Glenn is from the pharma industry. I've got Vernon Mathias here. He's from the packaging industry. I've got Reuben Buthello here. He's from the motor industry, the fabrication for big buses kind of the industry. It's again an industrial activity. I've got the young Aldrich here. He's from education sector, education, printing and also retail. Although it started the other way. His family began with retail, branched out into printing. It's one of the most famous printing presses in the country called Printania. And today it's a big educational campus called St. John's Technical and Education Campus. So very interesting personalities, different industries, all second generation entrepreneurs. And we are now going to be having some great insights in how they see entrepreneurship and what are they up to. How are they going to not only grow their businesses and their industries, but also add to the growth of the great country, India. So, Glenn, let me begin with you. If you can just introduce yourself on what is the exact type of your business in the pharma industry.
Firstly, I want to thank you very much for having me here, and it's wonderful to spend time with friends. And just to tell you a little bit about myself, my name is Glenn D'Souza and I'm the director of Anchormark Private Limited. We manufacture pharmaceutical machinery, and our products are in the range of encapsulation, liquid, dry powder, granulation, coating, counting and filling. So we have a big range of products in the pharmaceutical machinery sector. We have a strong domestic presence, and apart from that, we are exporting to over 45 countries across 6 continents. And this, as you rightly said, I'm the second generation entrepreneur, and this company now presently is over 4.5 decades old.
The best part about them is all of them have taken the businesses far beyond and far ahead of what the first generation did, and that is what makes a father proud. And all these 4 youngsters have exactly done that. So Vernon, if you can just introduce yourself in short.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Vernon Mathias. My company name is Whirlwind Packaging. So it's a 39-year-old company. We originally started as corrugated box manufacturers. Now we've got 2 divisions under the company. One being corrugated boxes, where we have about 4 factories around the country. And there is another division that is where we make packaging solutions. So paper bags, cup stubs, burger boxes, clamshells, wraps. So we're a one-stop shop for any quick service restaurant in the country or globally. Maybe McDonald's, Burger King or KFC. We supply all the paper packaging the company requires.
Excellent. Yes, Reuben.
Hi, I'm Dr. Reuben Buthello, and Bharat Coach Builders is my family business. And we manufacture buses. These include electric, diesel, CNG. We've even built India's first hydrogen fuel cell bus. We've also built India's highest capacity armoured buses. So that's the business we are into. And as we move ahead, I'll be discussing more about it.
Excellent. Welcome on the show, Aldrich.
I am Agnelorajesh D'Souza, and our family business is under 3 brands, as you correctly said. We have the Bound View retail stores. We have Printania, which is our printing press. Printing press is now 45 years old. And the St. John Technical and Education Campus, which is 18 years old. They're all diversified, but there is an interconnection between all of them. And I'm proud to say that the St. John Technical and Education Campus, which is 18 years old, it started when I was 14. So I've been growing with the campus. We provide KG to PG and soon to be PhD education to almost 8,000 students in the rural district of Palghar.
Wow, excellent. So very heavy profiles. They are doing some extremely interesting work, and entrepreneurship is all about excitement. Every entrepreneur is excited for some reason or the other, and I'm sure these people will also be having that excitement, like how each one of you might be having an excitement in what you do. So Vernon, what is your excitement of doing business or doing whatever you're doing in the business that you're in?
So back in the days when our factory began in Goa, Dad started meals. So we serve lunch and dinner for every employee in the organization. So and I think that's a wonderful thing that we do as an organization. We provide food for roughly 1,500 employees that we currently have in the organization. So I had a number target in mind that someday the organization should grow to a scale where I feed 1 million people. So that is a drive that motivates me every morning.
That excites you.
Absolutely.
Oh, I'm sure. And the day you start feeding 1 million people, that will be the size of the company. Matlab, it will be huge. So it is good to feed the people who feed your personal expansion plans and business as well. Reuben has got something to say on that.
I'm curious to know, like, there might be times where you ordered a parcel and the box is from your factory.
I think most of the time.
Most of the times.
Yeah.
Most of the times. So Reuben, what excites you?
We do a lot of work which is unusual. So these are businesses that are not normally done in India. For example, building for the defense, we build armored vehicles. We are building electric buses. India just started. We are amongst the few coach builders in India who are building electric buses. And this was in the realm of only what Europe and China used to do. Mostly China what has been doing. And we were the first to, I won't say the first, we were amongst the first to get into this line of work. So a lot of interesting work. You're working with high voltages. Like just for example, your household voltage is 240. 3-phase volts in all the factories is 400. The voltage in the bus is 650. So it's very dangerous work. It's very interesting work. but it is at the frontier of cutting edge that's happening. So sustainable, it is saving on diesel, it is saving on crude oil. So hopefully long term it will improve India's foreign exchange also. And so doing all this work is very exciting, and every day brings up new challenges, but it's good.
What is life without challenges? Growth is all about how you control and overcome those challenges.
Absolutely.
In fact, I've written a book on this, which Times of India has published. It's called Obstacles to Opportunities.
Yes.
So that was my first book. Yeah.
Yes.
Samasya se Sandhi.
Samasya se Sandhi. Correct.
Glenn, what excites you?
So for me, the industry I am in, it's a fantastic industry because we are making machines, and from the beginning I always had the interest in machinery. And from the time I was a kid, even though I used to not go to work, we used to participate in a lot of exhibitions. Of course, I didn't get a chance to go abroad, but then whenever it was in Mumbai and coincidentally in Nesco, I used to always go as a child. And just seeing the machinery itself and what we are building and what so many others are building really excited me to a great extent. And the beauty of the industry we are in an industry that saves lives. So pharma is here to stay. And it is an excellent industry where you meet a lot of good people, and we are proud to be associated with some of the best names, as a supply chain to them.
And they say that India is the pharmacy of the world.
I think
every fifth product in the world consumed in the medical segment is Indian-made product.
Yeah. And just to add, India is second only to the United States in the number of US FDA approvals.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
what will it take for India to become number one?
I think we are getting there because every day I see more and more companies are innovating, building world-class facilities. And today I see that in fact the world is coming to India rather than India going to the world, especially in the case of pharma, the vaccines, even pharmaceuticals, the entire industry. Because presently India is based in such a wonderful location that it can act as a supply chain to so many places, where the world, Asia, Europe, and most of the places, and good quality, cost-effective medicines. That's what matters.
Excellent. And I think more than 40% of the medicines consumed in US are produced or manufactured in India and exported to the US.
Absolutely.
That's really, these are all very proud points.
Very proud
Definitely,
points.
it helps the balance of payments for the country when you export.
Yeah.
And that is what is happening currently. Ulrich.
Social upliftment is what gives us joy in what we're doing. 30% of our students are first generation graduates in their families.
Wow.
Guaranteed 30%. And around 45% of our students are coming from reserved and backward classes. So we are giving them an opportunity to change their destiny, their family's destiny, and their own future. And as we uplift people out of their lower status or wherever it may be right now, we see that we are helping the country drive forward and grow. And these are young people. These are people who may probably end up working with him. But we see that there is a chance to change
I also
the
do
country.
business.
I'll give you my TPO's contact. You can reach out to him.
We have hospital management also.
Hospitality management.
Hospitality management. So some of
we can tie up
that
for
would
all
be
the
really
Sante
nice.
Spa restaurants and multiple other restaurants also.
And the other thing is what we do is we do a lot of research. So we also have 2 pharmacy colleges, and as he was mentioning, there is a lot of active research going on between industry and colleges. So even the students know what they're going to be doing in industry well before they go there, probably starting from their second year itself. So it doesn't happen that, you go into industry and you start working on an old thing. You're already trying to develop something new while in college and study about it. So that's pretty exciting.
And that keeps you excited.
There's cutting edge research and there's social upliftment that's going on at the same time. I think that's a good driving force for us.
So 30% of your students being graduates for their first time in their families is absolutely remarkable. It is said that the quality of a nation depends on the quality of the education the population gets. So you are actually directly contributing to the growth of the nation. A well-educated nation is a progressive nation. That's
True.
what is going to make India from a progressive country to a developed country. So I'm sure that is going to be happening. And friends, you must have realized all 4 of them are from industries which are operating on mass scale. Anything and everything related to the mass population of the nation. And India is definitely one of the largest, not the largest, the number 1 populated country in the whole world. We are almost 1.5 billion. The second interesting fact is 5 countries in the world contribute or are responsible for 45% of population of the whole world. So it is India, which is approximately 1.5. It is China, which is approximately 1.4. It is US, which is approximately 34 crores. It is Pakistan, which is approximately 26 crores. And Indonesia, which is approximately 28 crores. And then it is Pakistan, which is approximately 26 crores. So among these 5 nations, the population of the world is almost 45%. And the balance is distributed amongst the balance 190 countries. If we take into regard that the whole world is 195 countries, there is a lot of confusion, which is what is the total number. But on an average, it is 195. So we are absolutely born in the right country, and these are all people who are contributing to the masses, like pharma, one of the biggest in the world, is a part of that industry. Corrugated boxes, with the e-commerce, advent of the e-commerce, India is consuming 12 million tons of boxes, corrugated boxes every year, and one third of that consumption goes towards e-commerce products. He is into the manufacturing of buses, again mass transport, and he expressed that he is into education training, 8,000 people, which will keep growing like the population of the country. The population of the institute also will keep growing every year. So that's a very interesting menu which has already started, and we are going to be having the first round. We are going to be having a multi-course meal tonight, and it started with homemade soups, wild mushrooms and smoked garlic ramen. So very technical, which I want you to know. It's a deep soul-warming bowl of ramen with a slow brewed mushroom and Sriracha pepper broth, layered with a hint of smoked garlic, topped with seared pak choy, oysters, mushroom, grilled corn and crispy tofu, finished with spring onion, sesame oil and a touch of chili crisp. So that is what you are drinking on the table in the soup bowl. And we are also enjoying some energetic beverages, and they are anti-oxidizing, which is pineapple, spinach, spearmint and black salt. And the other drink that you see in the green color, that's immunity booster, which is pineapple, carrot, orange and turmeric. Sorry, this was the ulta one. The orange one is what I just said. Very technical menu. I actually get my revision happened on what I'm consuming when I come to Sante, especially on the show over here. So going ahead, Reuben, very few people can boast about creating a product which is being used by the prime ministers and presidents of the country.
Yes.
Like Bharat Coach Builders has supplied armored vehicles to the presidents of Senegal, to the president of Zimbabwe and Tanzania.
Yes, they have.
Very few people can boast that. So if you can speak something about that, and how did you land up into those orders? Because of course these leaders have to be protected, and with the kind of scenario happening globally, I think even the common citizen should start moving in armored vehicles. That is the kind of uncertainty that the world is facing everywhere. So how did you reach out to those such people, and how can you get orders for this kind of a unique requirement? And if you can explain what's an armored vehicle?
Okay. So an armored vehicle is the one which has safety protection. You have different levels of safety. So whether it can stop bullets from small firearms. When I say small firearms, I mean handguns. So whether it is something just like a 9mm, 45 caliber. So those, and then you have rifles. So assault rifles or little higher, that comes under the second level. And usually most of the cases where assaults happen with the help of a firearm, it happens within one of these two categories. So we were asked whether we can build a vehicle which can protect VIPs from such thing, and we took up the challenge. That was the first time we had done armored, and the way we got in touch with this company, and especially with the presidents, was we supply a lot of vehicles to Africa through Ashok Leyland. So we have a very long-standing association with the Ashok Leyland for the last 30 years. And since we've been supplying so many vehicles to them, Ashok Leyland said we want to give a goodwill gesture to the prime ministers and the presidents of these countries. So they got back to us and said, we've supplied there, and what can we do to ensure this relation continues to boom? So let's gift them something really nice. So instead of gifting them
a Rolex watch,
why not give them a bus which is armored? And we set on to that project. And it took a little time because we had to get the ballistic armor. We had to get, and the problem with ballistic armor is it cannot be manufactured easily with traditional steel. In fact, if you want to drill a hole, none of your normal drill bits will work. You need a diamond tip drill bit, and even a diamond tipped drill bit takes around an hour to make one hole. Wow. So you got to get this laser cut, and all of the design has to be done well in advance. See, especially when you're doing laser cutting on small parts, it's okay, but when you have massive parts, 7 meters in length, 12 meters in length. To get all the accuracy and the holes to align was a huge challenge, but we got it done. We supplied those vehicles to them. And
how safe is this armored vehicle? Otherwise, a person might feel very safe and get attacked.
So these were rated for ballistic 2 levels. So wherein your
what can it protect you from in the layman's language? AK-47, AK-56.
Yes, so an AK-47 and any of those class of weapons, 7.62 grenades, it can be protected. You can be protected from grenades, from AK-47s and below. So the type
even
of
the
bullets,
landmines?
No, not landmines. So for landmines, that's a completely different ball game because in that case, the available space that you have inside the cabin reduces considerably.
Okay.
And we didn't want to, because the areas where these were operating, we were supposed to operate in Senegal, Tanzania, the risk of landmines weren't there.
Okay.
So, but there was a risk of small
getting attacked
firearms.
the other way.
Yes.
Smaller firearms.
So that's how we wanted to protect these precedents, and that's how we built our vehicles.
Oh, excellent, excellent.
So-
And Aldrich, you wanted to become a F1 race driver.
I still want to.
You still want to. I think you
There's
still race
something
your.
limiting.
I think you still race your way from Borivali to Palghar as a race driver, because that is the best way to test your skills
I can't
with the
say this.
potholes and the traffic jams and stuff like that. You still want to be a F1 race driver.
If time permits.
So you are in business by choice or as instructed?
By choice. By choice. I pursued my master's abroad. I did my master's in sustainable engineering.
Come back.
And even at that point of time, there were many companies who are on the continuous lookout for ESG consultants. And Toyota, BMW, Honda, all three had openings for them. But I chose to come back because I think there is much more scope over here in terms of what we're doing. And running your own business, or even if you're helping out with a family business, you get the freedom of choice of what you want to do. Today, if you tell me to follow a set of instructions, I would be very bad at it. If you ask me to create a set of instructions that someone else has to follow to do their work, I could do that more easily.
So racing is still a passion in the heart.
It is. Motorsports is a passion. And one of the ways that I let off some steam is I'm part of a few communities. One is the Formula One community in Bombay. The other is Ravivar Racing Club, which is a social karting community. And once a month, we all gang up and we head off to multiple racetracks just to go around the track and see how fast you can go.
Excellent, excellent.
I'm only 2 seconds off the fastest guy. So, you were saying?
No, you can become the fastest, but you need to shave off something.
Thank you. Some more space
And he
on
didn't
the
mean
track.
the car.
I know. I'll have to keep coming to Sante then for that. And
Well, with Sante, one thing is assured. There are a lot of people who stay nearby Sante to eat Sante food every day, so that they can live long and they can live well. And you might probably cover up those 2 seconds.
I know.
So, not a bad idea.
Coming to motorsports, I just wanted to add, I also mentor the motorsports teams of our mechanical engineering department in college. So in the past 3 years, we have participated in 5 competitions, and all 5 competitions, we are number 1 in Mumbai and top 10 in the India ranking.
So, do all educational campuses have a motorsport division, or you got it because of your passion?
I got it because of my passion.
Good. So good you didn't want to become an astronaut or a pilot.
He's working with rockets. I could borrow some from him.
But isn't that great? Like, if you have a passion, you never have to compromise that in life. You have to just build a model around it and still pursue it hard. So in spite of being in the education segment, every passion or every hobby also has education behind it. So today you have smartly made sure that you have a motor or a motoring division in the college, and you are pursuing that hobby through the education that's happening at the campus. So people like you who have a similar passion are really enjoying the education experience at St. John's Technical and Education Campus in Palghar. Excellent. So Glenn, when I read about you, I realized that you and Vernon have one thing in common. Both are emotional decision makers. And there are people who think by their head. There are people who think by their heart. There are confused people who don't know how to think and where to think from, heart or head. Heart or head. So you are very clear that you and him both are emotional decision makers. Does it? Yeah. That's why I didn't allow you all to reach each other's information. Does it come in your way to help you, or does it come in your way at times where it disturbs work? How would you rate it?
See, honestly, if you ask me about decisions and leadership, I think it is very, very situational. because you need to see whom you're meeting, whom you're talking to, and then you need to sort of adopt a leadership style to go with them. When it comes to decision making, the emotion comes in because when you're working with people, you have to have empathy. You have to know where the other person is standing. The moment, see where you are standing from, yes, you're at a certain position, etc. But you need to understand how other people think. You need to understand what drives them, and that can best be done through empathy. And empathy can best be achieved when you are a bit, in that emotional this thing. And I think there's this wonderful book called Blink,
Okay.
which if I remember some of the things correctly, what they say is that the majority of the decisions that sometimes you take at the blink of an eye, and the decision that you may end up taking, after a lot of thoughtful analysis, more or less turn out to be the same thing. As long as you listen to your gut feeling and you decide that yes, you want to do that, and you take, sometimes the best decisions are the quickest decisions. You take the decision fast and then you follow through on it, and that's how it works. And I think the emotional way of doing it is the best way in that.
Absolutely well said. So there are a lot of businesses, not that other people are not empathetic or not emotional, but since you mentioned it in your information, I was very curious to ask you this, because a lot of entrepreneurs in this country have created examples like the Tata family. JRD Tata first built the residence quarters for the workers and then built the factory. So just imagine, he has absorbed the gestation period cost to himself, but that is what Tata is Tata today. And majority of their profits go to the Tata Trust. And
Correct.
Tata Trust is a majority stakeholder in the Tata group of companies. So that's nothing but emotional thinking and doing it for the larger good.
Very true.
So excellent. That's
And just to add to that point, since you mentioned Tatas, many of their decisions came on these bases. Like when Taj was built, it was because of the whole he was not allowed to enter Titan, is because the Swiss told them, that we don't have faith in your, we don't think Indian manufacturer will be able to. These are the emotions that drove them to say that, we can do it, and then they did it. That's the whole idea.
sometimes hurting the ego is the biggest motivation to achieve something in
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
If
very
not for
true.
that,
I
we
completely
wouldn't have
agree
been
with
having
that. I completely
enjoying
agree
freedom
with that.
today. So a lot of historical stories really boost up our morale and the way we need to do business in life.
Definitely, I agree.
Vernon, how will you explain your emotional decision making? So does it support you?
So
Does
I-
it come in between at times? How do you differentiate it, or how do you control it?
So I think it only supports me. I don't look at it as come in between of me, because I think that's the only way. So when that's the only option, and that's the only way the brain thinks, then I think it only supports. And I think Glenn answered the entire gamut, because he went from emotional decisions to speed of decisions, and I think I agree with a lot of them, and
And you like it that way.
Absolutely.
You like it that way.
Absolutely.
That gives you better sleep, I guess. Because
Absolutely.
when you love what you do, life becomes a picnic.
Absolutely.
That is what you do, right?
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So, friends, these are all second generation entrepreneurs, and fortunately and coincidentally, I happen to know all of their parents, and I have been an ardent student of each parent of theirs, very old friends, and they have really done a lot in the community as well as in the country to make a lot of difference and to make a lot of development overall for the nation as well. And these youngsters are also following steps. Reuben, I would like to ask you.
Only I would like to add, I think our parents, each of them will also vouch that there is a lot they have learned from you as well.
yeah, definitely.
So, Reuben, I would love to go to you. That
Yes.
when I clearly remember when you were just a student and you passed out of education, your dad didn't allow you to join him directly.
Yes.
He was insistent on you taking a work experience elsewhere. And that's where I think you were working in some factory in Mercedes
No,
factory.
with Mahindra
In Mahindra
at Nasik.
At Nasik.
At
right,
Nasik.
Right, right.
So
and
I-
then you worked somewhere near Pune also. In Volkswagen in Pune, right. So he was insistent on you following that route. So what was the thought behind that?
So he said, if you come directly on the seat, on the chair that I provide, you may not value what you've been given. And secondly, he said, "Pehle employee banna seekh, fir baad mein employer ban sakte ho." So that was his entire thing. You should know what the employees are going through. Like now, I realize that how important a Sunday is. I realize sometimes I have to pick up a child, or I have to drop someone. I can't leave home on
So
time.
it built your emotional quotient as well.
It builds that emotional quotient. When you come in as an employee and you see the work that people have put through, the difficulties that they are going through. You miss a train and you reach late. As a boss, you just can't be so harsh and say, why you're so late, and time is time.
So
and
you
this
have
and that.
had the reality check.
I've had reality check. And family occasions, you want to go for a family occasion, but then you have work to do.
Work commitment is
and
there.
then how do you decide? And so in a lot of ways that helped out. Secondly, another benefit was the connections I made in with the industry. Working with Mahindra, I had an amazing time, made a lot of friends there. In fact, my certification for Bharat coach builders for our buses, there's a certification called the AIS 52 bus code. We were the second company in India to get our buses certified by AIS 52 amongst 300 coach builders.
Wow.
And the reason we were able to do that was my boss in Mahindra was Mr. Z.A. Mujawar, late Mr. Z.A. Mujawar. He just passed away last month. Great man. He was the one he was the founding engineer of ARAI, the institution which does certifications for India. It's like how we have BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards. The automotive equivalent is called ARAI. And he was one of the 4 founding engineers. So he was my boss in Mahindra. When I quit Mahindra years later, nearly a decade later, he had already retired. I approached him and said, "Sir, I need your help in getting the certification." And the two of us worked together and we got the certification done. And so it is these connections which have helped me out now, which are helping me still in business. And I think it was that vision of my father at that time to realize that, let him go out, make a few things and then get back.
Excellent. So that was a great foundation that got developed because you learnt at some other infrastructure and you didn't have to be the boss's son over there.
Even
So-
now, I'm not treated like the boss's son.
Excellent. In fact, I clearly remember my dad used to work for Mahindra & Mahindra.
Oh, really?
And he worked for Mahindra & Mahindra 30 years. So I'm very
Wow.
emotionally connected and attached with Mahindra & Mahindra.
Oh, beautiful
And
company.
Anand Mahindra coincidentally happens to be a very, very dear friend of mine.
Wow.
And he started his work experience from the shop floor at Mahindra & Mahindra.
He did.
And
In
at that
Kandivali.
shop floor in Kandivali East,
Yes.
he was also working in the department where my dad used to work. And at that point of time, there were no computers. So it was called as EDP department. EDP is electric processing department, something
Okay.
related to not computers, but they had a supercomputer.
Got it. They had NC controllers. So you put
yes,
in
the big
these paper
cassettes,
charts.
yeah.
You put cassettes or paper
Big
charts and then
cassettes.
it works on
So
that.
you used to also come to take work experience over there. So all great minds are built that way from the shop floor.
Absolutely.
So Aldrich, you studied abroad. You were in the US for a couple of years. In fact, I think we met also in US once you were there, or no?
No.
You were on a trip with us, and
Oh yeah.
something on those lines. So what made you come back to the country? That's one. And did you join the family business wholeheartedly? Did your parents guide you to do that, or you decided that this is the best for my future? How did your transition happen from a passed out student to a guy who's already operative in a business which is very well structured and very well set by your dad, who's a phenomenal entrepreneur by himself?
I see you're going hard hitting with these questions now. And he knows exactly which question it was. Leaving the US was not an easy decision. I mean, even today I look and I've got a lot of my classmates, a lot of my friends who have probably just settled there, got their citizenship, and they're probably enjoying a slightly better quality of life. Everyone will agree with me on this. Their roads may not have potholes and things may not be this, things may not be that. But when you look at the current situation over there, the kind of uncertainty which people face on a daily basis, I feel it was a great decision to come back. And even while I was in the US, I used to come back every 5 or 6 months and keep in touch with what was happening over here. Even if there were meetings happening here, there would be an online link sent to me, there would be the minutes sent to me. So I knew what was continuously happening and what was growing over here. And over time, you realize as a family business, if you have to grow, it has to be the second generation who has to be involved on a daily basis. If you're not around to support your parents, you'll see your business or family business folding up very quickly. Pretty sure you may be knowing quite a few examples. Coming back, the one good thing was the experience which I got by observing how things happened in the US changed my mindset on how institutions should be run. There's a lot of trust-based process over there. Whether
So these are insights which your dad didn't have, you got because of the international exposure.
I agree, yes.
So you have value added.
It was a great value add. And it's a big difference in how education runs in India and how education runs in other countries. The first thing is the trust-based process. The management trust the faculty that they're doing the right thing. The faculty trusts the student that they're doing the right thing. It's on the conscience of the person in the system and not just rigid rules in the system. And that is why the outcomes over there seem to be much better than the outcomes over here.
Oh, that's a beautiful observation. Very good observation.
See,
the
today,
labs.
So the onus on the onus of the trust is on the individual in question.
yeah,
Okay.
you have to make sure that everyone under you is subscribed to your idea to drive your thing forward, or else it will become a system of maker checker. Oh, are you doing this or are you doing that correctly?
All the time you have to keep looking at
You
your
have to
back.
keep looking at things.
I think you had keys to your lab also, right?
Yeah,
You had keys.
we had unlimited access to our labs as long as you told them that obviously CCTV camera and everything was there, but it was on the student that you will use this responsibly.
So are you implementing some of those learnings in the campus that you are currently operating?
Yes.
So that is a great
Quite a
value
few.
addition.
Quite a few. As we have become an autonomous campus, we have had a lot of responsibility shifted on to your faculty members. They are designing the syllabus, they are calling in the experts, they have to conduct the examinations on time, declare the results on time, and make sure the outcomes of their actions are visible. Today, a campus is always known on the kind of placements that it will provide to the students. And I am proud to say that 85% of our students either got some form of an internship or a final placement at the end of their 3 or 4 year degree course. If you are able to tell your student coming in that yes, you have an 85% chance of doing something productive after doing a study with us, I think that's the single greatest selling point you can have for them.
Excellent, excellent. Vernon, you mentioned that whenever there are difficult times in business, you take counsel from your dad. Obviously, that is a great route, that is the right route because he's been there, done that. He has got his own experiences, you have got your own experiences and what you have come across. So, is that a plus or a minus? Or does it reduce individual capability and capacity to solve problems? Do you become more dependent on your senior all the time? How do you look at that? Because it's a wise thing to do. It's a wise thing to do. Nothing wrong with that. But how do you look at that facility of having access to the founder?
I think it is amazing. I look at my dad as a brake. Now, I think brakes in a car is the reason you can drive fast, right?
That's the reason there is a break.
No. So when so the minute you have a brake in the car is the reason you can actually accelerate. So I don't have a thought process of filtering ideas. I have a very clear thought process that I have a very senior guy in the organization who's built the organization, who's taken it up there, and I know that if there is some percentage of failure in this, he'll knock it down and he'll give me reasons, he'll explain it to me. So I think he's my sounding board. I started with the most craziest idea and I pitched to him.
Do you hear or do you listen?
I pitch and then I listen. So
Okay.
there are
Because when you said sounding board, there are people who hear.
no. So I speak and I listen, and I think
Does he listen to you as well?
absolutely. No, so I think between so in the organization, Touchwood, between dad, me, and my brother, I think we have a fabulous working relationship as well. That is that dad being he's 70, he'll be 70 this year, but he becomes a kid when we discuss, right? It's not
He comes to your age.
He comes to our age. We sit in a room, we discuss things. It isn't we two discussing with a father. It is we three discussing together, and he understands exactly what we're trying to say. He reasons it out, and finally, if we still think that I still think, or my brother still thinks that we need to only go ahead, irrespective of whatever stand he takes. Possibly we go back and forth a day or two, but in spite of all of that, if we really need to do, he gives us a go ahead.
So it's a validated decision. At the end of the day, after the conversation, it's a validated decision.
Yeah, in fact, I'll add to what he's saying. There is somebody in the industry who had told me once, that whatever you do, nothing can ever substitute white hair. the whole idea what he was trying to portray was that experience is the best thing that you. So actually, I agree with him because it's very similar even in my case, and it was not happening earlier. When you enter the business, the idea is that you want to prove something. You want to do that, and many a times when your father or a senior is trying to tell you something, the first thing you think about is more on your learnings or your knowledge rather than trying to look at the other person's view. And I've seen n number of times where my own father, he has said so many things, that look, this 1, 2, 3, 4, it's better you do. And immediately it never makes sense. You always think that, no, it doesn't look like this is going to happen. And for some reason, it always works out the way he says. Yeah, it always works out. And that's the biggest thing I've learned is that experience is everything. It has to be the best teacher.
So all of you come from a very comfortable background because by the time you were born, your parents had already built their empires they were on their own sustainable model. So how do you take that as a facility? In the sense, like a lot of people say that they become robust because they faced hardships. Now for the comfortable background that you come from and knowing your dad and your mom, the way they handle you, like every other parent, do you miss the hardships? Do you think you would have been a better entrepreneur if you would have faced some hardships? Or do you feel this was good enough to become a great entrepreneur?
See, I think that, in fact, when I think about all the times, they tell me about the hardship, like they are telling me, I'm imagining it. But I think realistically, it would have been at least 100 times harder what they had to face. I don't know. I frankly think if I would have been in that hardship, I don't think I would have ever come up the way they did. Because some of these stories we hear, I mean, for us, it is stories. For them, it was a reality. But I think a second generation entrepreneur comes with his or her own challenges. Like you said, a comfortable life, that itself is a challenge. Because when you come with some degree of comfort, like somebody like you, who's been through that hardship, you don't go through that hardship at all. And when you enter the business, of course, it's not like somebody is trying to put a bad eye or something, but it's like they are waiting for people, second generation entrepreneurs, to fail because they say, "Arey baap ne itna bada काम किया और बेटे ने ऐसे या बेटी ने ऐसे किया." So the big challenge that you have is you be grateful for that comfort. That's the first thing I think you need to do when you enter the business.
So you begin with gratitude.
You begin with gratitude. You be happy that yes, you got this, and you have to use this not as a way to be flamboyant or try to be this, but ideally it is better to be simple about it, to be grateful about it, and use that as a kickboard to go higher. That's the whole idea.
So the saying is wrong. मतलब जिसको स्वर्ग देखना उसका खुद का मरना जरूरी है. बाजू वाला मरेगा तो स्वर्ग भी वही देखेगा. So that saying is wrong for business, right?
Yeah, for business.
So
I think it is wrong.
even without doing that, you can be a part of heaven.
You can.
You can be a part of a comfortable business model. Yeah, Reuben, you have to say something.
I have a little different thought process to it. See, Glenn had his own discipline, and that's why he was able to put himself in a way which was very helpful to his business and to his father. But not all children. If you look at the way kids are today, especially kids from privileged backgrounds, they've not been able to achieve much what their parents have done. And this is all like the butterfly. You try to help the butterfly get out of the cocoon, and the butterfly cannot spread its wings because it does not pump its blood enough. The wings don't open, and I see this happening more often than not. Youngsters who have not put in through the fire, who have not been put into the grind, have no respect for the business, have no idea how to handle the business, have no understanding of commitment, of dedication, of hard work, long hours, nothing. And this is something which parents have to imbibe in their children. They think it's torturing the child, but no. This is what is going to harden steel. If you want to forge the hardest of steel, you have to put it through the toughest of fires.
Absolutely.
As simple as that.
Absolutely.
Very true, very
But
true.
is that a conversation or you have gone through that fire?
No,
He gave a great example.
I have gone through that
His
fire.
father,
I
I'm
have-
sure
I
his
have
father
gone
would
through
have
that
put it
fire.
So
through.
was the fire your dad? Because what basically happens is
The one
many
who
a times,
ignited it is my dad.
because what happens is there are parents who make it sure that even in spite of having a comfortable background, they actually want you to go through rough fire. They push you in the front
Yeah.
all the time so that you can build. At times we get very irritated कि यार मेरे से हर काम क्यों करवा रहा है? But in the process, you're actually learning what he has learned many years back.
No, and I completely agree with what Reuben says. If you have to, especially in a family-oriented business, if you have to learn, if you have to grow, you have to start from that scratch. You have to go through that fire. If you directly try, and anyway, I don't think in any well-oriented family business you're ever going to be in a situation where your father or mother is going to say, "Come, just sit next to me and start working." No. Just to give an example of even my father, he never forced me into the business. He said it is completely your decision. But he said one thing. He said once you enter, then there are some rules. Then there is some discipline. There is something you need to follow. You need to follow timings. You need to be disciplined. And you need to be aware of your responsibility completely. So that Agni Pariksha is a must.
And I'm sure it's a daily process.
It is a daily process.
Knowing your dad, I know it's a daily process.
Even till today, it's a daily process. You have to go through the grind. You have to go through the root of the problem. There are many a times, where we have good people and we think, that yes, we can delegate, etc. But sometimes, many a things he tells me, he says, go there and see why it is happening. Then you actually get a clear idea of what to do so that the next time the incident occurs, you're in a better position to take that decision. I think the best example I think most of our parents have given us is learn by doing. I think that is what we believe in.
Lead by example.
Lead by example and learn by doing. Yes.
Excellent, excellent.
So I have a little different view here. I'm just bringing in.
Please.
Well,
His emotions, yeah, his emotions
so
have
when
come.
I grew up in a golden spoon, so I had a very comfortable life growing up, and my dad didn't want me to join the business. So he thought I did my computer engineering, and he felt that बेटा कुछ नारायण मूर्ति जैसा बड़ा कर लेगा. So when I finished my computer engineering, I realized how much I know of computers. So I was very clear I wanted to join the business. So
your certificate displayed that.
So I was good in study, and not great, but I was good at studies. I never got a KT in engineering.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
That's an achievement. That's an achievement.
Not a single KT in all 4 years. But I didn't cross 60% either.
It's okay, but
Yeah. So I was just
40,
there.
40 was considered
KT is an achievement, really a big one.
So, but unlike Anand Mahindra's example that you gave, my dad also, because I said I want to join the business, he said, okay, if you want to start, then start with the machines. But unlike the Mahindra setup, when I went to my factory, my dad was not there in the factory. And the minute I went to the factory and I was actually asked to, for 2 days, just leave boards for size on the machine. And if I would sit and try to leave the boards for size, all the operators around would gather a chair, would get the fan next to me and say, "Chote sahab aaye," and they would make me sit, and then they would set everything and they just ask me to push the board.
Are you sure they didn't take your hand?
Because the structure was very different. I never got the opportunity to go up, as in do the hard, rough job. But I always don't think, you have to go through the fire to do it. I also think your purpose is very important. Where you want to reach and why you want to reach there. If it's just a turnover, a revenue, a bottom line, a car, or a particular product target, I think once you reach it, you lose hope. So if your purpose that drives is very strong, then I think Jannat ko bula sakte hain.
So Vernon, you are the guy who you're a guy who plays the role where you make sure that the factory is up and running and factories keep getting expanded. You acquire customers, right?
Right.
So customer acquisition is your primary line of activity in the setup that you are a part of.
Right.
Majorly. All
So
must
I
be doing
take
it,
care
but
of sales
majorly.
and I take care of new businesses. Yeah.
So getting a customer today is a very difficult task because every customer has an existing vendor.
Perfect.
So first you have to crack that vendor, get into the system and then become a better vendor.
Perfect.
So this is what exactly happened with you with Wipro.
Right.
With Wipro, you were one of the vendors and then you suddenly became the main vendor for Wipro. So what is it that you did which gave you that elevation of becoming their prime most vendor for a large organization like Wipro?
So this started back in 2011. Wipro was my first customer. So when I joined the family business, my dad told me very clearly, do your first meetings for the customers you don't want to. Right? So the people who don't want you to, you make them their customers, go to them, visit them, have learnings from them, and then go to pitch to the customers you really want to acquire. And Wipro back then had just one vendor
I see.
for the last 20-25 years. And then I happened to break that. So
How was that? How did that happen?
I don't know, maybe just the face. But
Did you get any cuts there?
but I had an in there, and we grew in volumes. And
Was
So-
it customer support? Was it pricing? Was it quality? Was it combination of all of this? Was
So-
it being proactive?
so I think at times it is multiple, right? So to enter in, it was price. The minute I entered in, our business is such that the raw material prices fluctuate twice a year. So you can enter in at a price point, and twice a year you get a chance to correct it if you put it the right way. So structurally, I had an in at a cheaper price point, and then the entire business model of Wipro was a vendor business model. So there were vendors you have to supply to. Wipro themselves doesn't buy the packaging,
Okay.
and I had to supply to vendors. And I realized that the pain point there was the cash flow, because the vendor they don't have a problem. If Wipro has an agreed price, they don't have a problem paying you 10% higher than the agreed price, but they just don't have cash to pay. So
Wipro.
yeah, no, the
vendors,
vendors.
the vendors.
The vendors.
So there I became the cash flow guy, and then I threw credit in. Credit in, so gave the longer payment terms, and that's how knocked off the other supplier from the system.
So these are strategies which are deployed by all the people all the time. Somebody is very proactive. Somebody is giving a credit. Somebody gives a better price. All of these are great. But what is that one point that would have been effective in becoming the major vendor for Wipro? Anything that you can specifically point out?
I think relationships, because packaging across the organization, across packaging as an industry globally, I think relationships is actually what matters. A corrugated box that I give or any other good supplier gives is all at par, at price, at terms, at all of it. But I think the relationships that you end up having, and you call it service or you call it a relationship that you end up having with the customer, I think that gives you a win generally for years to come.
Excellent. So Glenn, in 2008, you set up the supply chain management.
Right.
Am I right?
Yeah.
2008.
The first software.
Supply chain management. So how difficult or how easy was it to get out from a manual system to something which is technology supported or technology based? What exactly happened in 2008 in the organization when you tried to implement this? And you were the guy who implemented it, not your dad, right?
No.
He would have been a support system, but you're the guy.
Yeah.
So
correct.
what happened at that time?
So at that particular point of time, I think we were at a point where our products were extremely good. We had a very strong goodwill in the market, and I think that is the best base on which you can actually enter and start something. If the goodwill in your market is strong, you can always encash on it, and as long as you keep it up, you can always sell. That's the whole point. But the one thing we lacked is that we didn't have a good system flow for it, because a majority of the people who work with us have been, even now, there are so many of our people who work for so many years with us, and even at that time, because they worked with us, there was a lot of loyalty, but there was one, I won't say a disadvantage, but more like a problem was that they were very averse to following systems. They were very used to a certain manual process, the way they followed it. And for me, coming from an engineering background, when I entered, the first thing I was very clear, I'm even clear today, that's how I always, keep my work, is that everything has to be system oriented. It can never be person oriented. As long as you have a robust system in place, you can always bring in people to drive it.
So this is an initiative that you got implemented since 2008.
2000, yeah. In fact, we first started with a very simple system. It was, and I know we decided let us take it slow. So we went for something as simple as inventory control or just simple purchase orders, etc. But everything activated and gone through a system. And as we kept growing, we implemented, I think, our first ERP about, 13 or 14 years back. That was the first time we implemented the ERP. And initially, we just took it on to manufacturing. We didn't enter finance. And one day, and that is one day, my father, he said, even finance should be integrated. We have to integrate it anyhow. And we tried it with that system. Unfortunately, it failed. But at that particular point of time, we thought maybe we should go back. And he said, nothing doing. He said, once we've taken this decision, integrated finance is a must. We must proceed with it. And I remember that was, I think, January, and we realized that this software
Just
is not
three
going,
mi- three
just
months
3
before
months
the
before
financial year
the
end.
financial year ends.
So you
And we
implemented
were,
SAP.
yeah, and we were pushed into a corner, and we were wondering, what should we do now? Go back or no? And he said, no, we have to move forward.
So that's when you implemented
And
SAP.
that's when we implemented SAP, and we knew that we had 3 months to implement it.
Still
And
you went ahead.
we went ahead and successfully implemented SAP with integrated finance in a matter of 3 months. I think that was by far one of the biggest achievements we had, and it is, I would never credit to myself. It's the entire team. They have really worked on it. They went forward. Many people will be resistant, but they said, no, we'll go ahead with this, and we did it in a matter of 3 months. And today I realize, when we are completely on SAP, do we realize the importance of that system? Because everything goes so robustly, so smoothly, including finance.
And it is
That
shared information.
it is
Everybody is
shared
updated.
everybody can see it. Everybody can be trained on it. And we are not dependent on any external financial experts. Today, everything the system gives us, and it is ready.
Absolutely. Fantastic. So, Aldrich, it is one thing to start motorsports. It is one thing to start. But it is something very interesting that you not only created education for motoring sports, but you also went ahead and started winning competitions. So, what is it that you instilled in the teams? Of course, your passion was there, because of which it started in the first place. So, what is it that you instilled in the teams that you became a winning team everywhere? An organization in one remote part of Maharashtra, not that very remote anymore, but in one part of Maharashtra, not the urban city of Mumbai, but Palghar, and you were winning across multiple locations, competitions for motorsports. How did that transition happen? What is your contribution to ensure that the team performs the best and everybody is a Sachin Tendulkar or a Virat Kohli of the man behind the wheel?
So the team usually has around 20 to 25 students, and given that they're all between the ages of 18 to 21, they're filled with adrenaline in their blood. Everyone wants to build the fastest vehicle, everyone wants to be the fastest driver, and everyone wants to this, everyone wants to that. You always begin by getting them to read the entire rule book. Day 1, week 2 is only read the rule book. Till you wrap your head around the rules, till you have doubts about the rules, no one is going to tell you this is possible or this is not possible. A very key thing to do is temper your expectations. If you're starting off something for the first time and you think you're going to make $1 billion out of it or $1 billion out of it in the first year, it's not going to happen. So the same thing, you adjust the team's expectations and you let them know that whatever happens, it's a learning experience. See, we have faculty coordinators who go with every competition that we participate in, whether it's a hackathon, it's a motorsport thing, it's a project competition, presentation, whatever it may be. Even the faculty may not be that well versed with the topic, unless they were interested in it when they were students. So you manage everyone's expectations about what is an achievable target. It's great to achieve to be on it's great to aspire to be on the top step, but accepting that you will be top 3, you will be top 5, you will be top 10 is still good. The key thing is, when you are participating or doing anything, you need to learn to observe what everyone around you is doing. Okay, some team may be faster in a straight line, but some team may be faster around the corners. How do you design your vehicle or come back and make
So
it
you are
focus?
monitoring the activity real closely.
Yeah.
That's the reason for the results. Otherwise, मतलब जैसा बोलते हैं ना, जैसा राजा वैसी प्रजा. So if the man at the top is completely involved, I'm sure the results will be exceptional, and it is proudly splashed as news everywhere that your institution has won the motorsports competition. So do you apply these strategies to all the departments, or you are partial only to the department that you love?
Oh. I do have a soft corner for motorsports, but I'm very progressive in thinking that students should be participating in all kinds of competitions. See, the University of
By
Mumbai...
making them better human beings. Competition makes you a better human being.
The University of Mumbai has 900 plus colleges. All 900 colleges will give you a degree. What am I doing differently at St. John that will make a difference to your output as a student? When a student goes out and participates in competitions, he acquaintances or he gets an idea of what the crowd around him is going to be. Remember, you're competing against those same 1,000 or lakh people into the workforce in maybe 2 or 3 years. So that experiential learning should be at the core of whatever every student does. So whether it is hackathon, because hackathon is government given problem solving, right? The government issues problem statements, students have to develop a tech solution to it. Whether it is the pharma competitions that our students go to, whether it's poster presentation for novel research or stuff like that. Our target is that 50% of students should participate in at least one external competition every year. Go individually, go as a team, could be technical, could be cultural, but bring out the best of yourself while you're with us.
Excellent, excellent. So, Reuben,
Yes, sir.
in the last couple of months,
Yes.
India's defense exports has multiplied by 56 times. And I'm sure your company, Bharat Coach Builders, is also a part of that. You also have the credit for manufacturing or creating the largest troop carrier, armored troop carrier.
Yes.
And you could achieve that with a team of 60 people in a short span of 45 days.
Absolutely.
Now, generally, in any manufacturing activity, machine manufacturing facility or business activity, meeting the deadlines by itself is
It's a challenge.
it's a challenge. And you could achieve such a sensitive milestone in just 45 days with a team of 60 people. So, how could you achieve that? What was the planning behind it, and what was your participation in that?
So this all started thanks to our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji.
Yes.
We had the unfortunate incident of Pulwama attack. And when the Pulwama attack happened, the first thing Modi ji asked the military was, how is it that our troops are traveling without protection? Like they could be fired upon by anyone. And they said that the highest armoured vehicle that we have has a capacity of 14. So he sent out immediately an order saying that we need to have a higher capacity troop carrier. And then that order went to the military gave it to CRPF, CRPF gave it to Ashok Leland came to us and said we need to design something really fast. So we said, okay, we took up the challenge again, and in fact, I worked very closely because defense is something which is very close to my heart. So in Ashok Leland, there was Mr. Kulgari and there was a DIG from CRPF. We all sat down, brainstormed. We came up with proposals on how it should be, what model to use, all those things we decided. And once we framed the base requirements in a matter of 2 days, we went about designing the product. So I sat down with the team. My background is from R&D. So I was with Mahindra and Mahindra in the R&D department. So
All that is helping now.
all that is helping. So how do you go from design, concept, prototype, rapid prototyping to field trials? That entire process is what I'm well versed with. And touchwood, even my father was very good. It's very intuitive. I went through the process. My father just intuitively had this.
He learned from experience.
From experience. So with the two of us, my father, me, with the team that we have in Bharat Coach, the design team, we sat down nearly 4 days of
Planning.
execution. Yeah, when say execution means designing. So all the designing went in 4 days, and we did back and forth with the Ashok Leland R&D team also. So they looked at the designs, they added certain modifications to it, and within 4 days we had the base structure ready and the design. We sent it for approval. It got approved in a few days, and then we started construction, and that's how
In 45 days, you could achieve it with a team of 60 people.
with the 60.
So you chose the team of 60 commandos from your existing workforce, segregated them.
So
You
the-
understood their pluses and minuses, their strengths and weaknesses, and then you assigned them tasks which you could compile together and create the product in 45 days.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. That is absolutely remarkable.
So we are currently it's the highest capacity. It's a 30-seater.
Is it in the world or in the country?
In the country it is.
The largest troop carrier,
Largest troop carrier.
armored troop carrier.
Armored troop carrier.
Excellent.
Made in India.
Congratulations. Congratulations on that.
So I have to
And
thank
made in India.
the Made in India initiative and the Honorable Prime Minister that this was something which was speed tracked, and even the approvals which came in before we could even buy ballistic armor.
The approvals is in place.
Approvals were in place. I had a meeting with the. I had to go for an interview with the Ministry of Defence, and you had like an army general on one side. You had the Air Force, maybe not the mass, but like someone very senior, and a Navy admiral, and then you had the Defence Secretary or someone sitting right there, and they were asking questions.
Excellent.
So it was a very interesting time.
So isn't it a great feeling?
Amazing. So she asked the general, do you have any objections to handing over any objections to giving a certificate to Bharat Coach Builders? He said no objections, ma'am. Then
Excellent.
Mr. So-and-so
Right on
thing.
point.
Do you have any objections in giving Bharat?
Isn't that a matter of pride to
Oh.
defend people who defend your country?
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
your product is actually protecting the people who defend the country.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Excellent. Well done. So we just enjoyed the appetizing morsels, and the appetizing morsel was something very, very interesting, which we all thoroughly enjoyed. We had the hummus with spiced mushroom tartine, and it is one of my favorite dishes. It is high protein hummus layered on toasted sourdough tartine, topped with warm spiced mushrooms and absolutely fresh herbs.
It was
And the
fantastic.
feeling was so
Fantastic,
good.
Fantastic.
Amazing.
Really.
How did you like it?
Absolutely
Guys,
amazing.
Really good.
It was
You know,
very
Jen,
surprising.
Before I
the flavors.
came here, the perception was healthy food is generally not very tasty. I mean, I completely changed my mind today. Coming here, really.
So it is not only food, but how it gets prepared. And what is the honesty quotient that you want to include in your business model? Like, my next question is definitely going to be to Vernon, but what business you do is immaterial. How you do your business matters the most.
Very true.
And how good, honest, and transparent you are to your customer. Many a times we compromise with our customers, but sometimes we put our foot down and we don't compromise. So I want to ask Vernon, in his situation, there was a client who was almost supporting 35% production of one of your factory, but the values didn't match between you and the client, and you had the courage and the guts to put your foot down and exit him from your system. So exiting a revenue client is a big decision to take. So what made you do that, and what was the learning out of that experience, Vernon?
So if you look at it, he was 35% of the revenue, but at one point in time, when the way he was growing, he was more than 50%. When I actually asked him to move away, and the values, the thought processes didn't match. He had a tie-up with a client in the US, and he was an Indian based in India, based in Delhi, and he wanted to tell me how to run my business, and structurally I was not very happy with that. He wanted to command and on whose other jobs I should run and who's not, and what he wanted to, even though the margins on his product were good, and at the end of it I knew that even if I put up another factory, he could run it, but structurally it wasn't aligning or with the thought process that I want to build as an organization. So we decided to part ways. Yes, parting away is difficult. It gives you a tough 4, 6, 8 month or a year at times. But if your thought process is clear, what you're building, why you're building, I think then...
So I've had a very similar experience in life. When I began my career with St. Angelo's Computers Limited, we were the first people to install computers on the BOT model in a school.
wow.
And that
Wow.
school was in Goregaon West. So build, operate and transfer. It was a 3 years contract. We put in 30 computers. At the end of the third year, I have to hand it over and exit the business model. Now the business was so good that 80% of my profits were coming from that one activity, and my other 4 institutes at that point of time, this is a story that I'm talking about 1994. My other 4 institutes at that point of time were 1/5 of the profits that I was making in that one establishment. But the problem was the recovery from the school management, because the school used to collect the fees and then pay to us our share. Now for that, I had to sit outside the trustee's cabin for 5 hours, and I was a young guy like how you are today. And then I took a decision that do I spend my time on non-productive activities like collections, or should I wind this up and focus on the businesses where I've got the independence to grow? And this was short-lived joy only for 3 years. So after the first year, I exited that business, and all in my friend circle told me that this is a financial debacle that you are getting into, because such a rosy business, ready-made business, guaranteed revenue, and you're abandoning such a business opportunity. I said, no, I think this curtails my freedom to grow, and I think that is more important. And that was the right decision that I took it then, and which is the right decision that you took it with this client.
Absolutely.
So I've got a very dear friend, a very big stalwart of the country. His name is Captain Raghuraman. And Captain Raghuraman told this to me in 2001. I met him for the first time in 1999. We are friends since then. And in 2001, he told me one thing, that Rajesh, never have a client who commands more than 70% of your overall revenue. You'll always be a slave to him, and you'll have to compromise not only on your values, but also on your comforts. And since then, never ever got into a business where I can create a scenario where I come under the client in some situation. So,
This was one example I gave. There was another example where the customer was 100% of my factory's volumes.
oh wow.
I shut that as well because values didn't match. We didn't produce a single product for 6 months, not a single invoice. 4.5 or 5 months, not an invoice from the factory. 350 employees the factory had. We paid all of them. We paid rents, we paid everything. But for 3.5 months or 4.5 months, we never invoiced. But we're very clear. Structurally, if after a point, if you try to squeeze in and the values don't match, the business is what
requires a lot of courage.
yeah, the business is what
6 months.
where the decision goes.
So this is fantastic. This is also a part of self-confidence on what you should bend at and where you should stand tight. There is this friends of mine, Dharmendra Mehta and Jisal Mehta. Both were government employees. They were IRS officials. They left from service after they married and they started their own business. They did so well for themselves that they wanted to start an airline. And they were almost on the verge. They had already booked some 4 airlines. Uniforms were ready. Staff were appointed. Everything was happening right. Dharmendra Mehta is a chartered accountant. And he knows that mitigating risk is the only real business of this world. Suddenly, there was some disturbance where the fuel prices skyrocketed to an extent that he realized that even if I run the flights at full capacity, I will still end up losing money. 15 days before the launch of the airline, he pulled the plug and he didn't do that business.
Thank God he's friends.
I know, yeah.
And he flourished much beyond that.
Absolutely.
So, many a times it happens that we feel about social stigma. We have made announcements, we have made press releases because nobody comes to you. It is you have to take the right decisions and make sure that you are in the safe zone all the times. So you have to book your losses. And that is exactly what he did. Because in business, we also realize that many a times in life, there are situations where you have to book the losses, cut it off. It's like somebody's leg is rotten. You have to amputate it. Otherwise, it will take the whole body.
Absolutely.
So you have to just knock it off. So that is what you did. That is what a lot of people that I know have done in their lives. And these are great lessons because from here, we learn on how our self-confidence or the right decision making at critical times can become supportive and positive.
This is called sunk cost in management.
It is
right?
sunk cost.
So
It
like
is called
suppose
sunk cost.
you buy a movie ticket and after buying the movie ticket, just before you enter, your friend tells you it's a terrible movie, don't waste your money on that. We say I already spent money. Now the question comes, what do you
3
do?
hours of your time.
Do you waste 3 hours of your time or you don't waste 3 hours of your time?
Absolutely. So Glenn, accountancy, transparency, fund management, goods management, material management, inventory management, customer management, all come together when you operate a factory that you are operating like any other business.
Right.
So you implemented SAP, which you just shared some time back, and that too during the critical period of Jan, because in Jan, your actual accounting really begins because you have got the year ending at 31st of March. What were the thoughts that ran through your mind that if this also fails, then what was your backup plan? How you would have brought the situation under control?
Honestly, there was no backup plan at that time. It was very clear. We have to do this and we have to move forward. So like I said earlier, it was a situation where we were actually pushed into a corner. And that's now when I realize in hindsight, I think some of the best decisions you make are when you're pushed into that corner. Because when we actually started and took a decision to do it, we never thought about failure at all at that particular point of time. We were very clear it is going to happen and we will do it anyhow. And like I said, fortunately for me, see, these decisions can be taken at one time, but execution is very, very difficult. And there you need the support of each and every person working with you. And this SAP is a system where you cannot leave anyone out. Every single person, right from sales to accounts to finance to marketing through into inventory, production planning, everybody is involved. So this was a situation where the entire organization actually came together and took the decision of working extra hours. We definitely made a plan. It was not something where we just jumped in. We took a calculation. We backtracked that if we have to go live on 1st of April, what are the different milestones and targets we need to achieve initially? Like we have to complete 1, 2, 3 here, there, and so on. And we made sure that we kept this particular thing in mind anytime we were working. So these milestones helped us greatly because every time we knew that we are doing it, we knew that we are going to implement it. So as long as I think you're focused, you're clear in these particular situations that you have to do it, you will do it. And fortunately, we did.
So there was no plan B.
In this situation, absolutely.
So
there was no plan B.
there is a small story that I would like to share here. So there was a big island and there was a small island. For 350 years, the small island wanted to capture the big island, but they always failed. Then came a general whose name was Glenn. He took the boats, took his navy, went on to the big island, and the first thing that he did was he burned the boats. And he said, either we win or we die. There is no coming back. And that attempt with no plan B was the time that the small island captured the
big island.
big island. So these are all some fantastic experiences that you hear where when we implement it in real-time business, it really works.
Yeah.
So Reuben, in hiring, I follow a policy that I love to hire people who have been there and done that. I don't have the patience to groom them or train them. And there are some people who would like to take people kacha and then they mold them and then they train them and they retrain them and they retain them and they make them productive. So what do you do as a policy? Because I heard that you will hire anybody who's not been there, not done anything, and you still hire them and then you make them productive. So how do you do that, Reuben?
I feel God has blessed everyone with near equal capabilities. Maybe some are intelligent in one area, some in another as such, but I think everyone's capable of doing it. And in fact, with the first company which I had started, CMix Concrete, our head of accounts and finance was our dispatch guy. Within 5 years, we brought him to such a level that he could finalize accounts, handle all treasury related matters, handle cash flows, handle payments to vendors. And what I've seen is if given a chance and you trust people and you give them the right tools to work on, they will live up to your standards. And I've always seen that happening. So I usually get raw talent. I find people, if I see there is a good spark in that person, there is good integrity in the person. Hard work and integrity, these are two things I only look out for. Everything else I can train them. Otherwise, his college will train. So that is not a problem.
From what he says,
I
it
just
sounds
need
more
a
of an
person.
accountant being a dispatch guy.
So this,
Jason Statham, next movie.
so the thing is, I mean, that's the way I look at things as such. You get whoever you can, and then you
So
bring
you
them
put
to
efforts on your manpower.
effort on manpower.
Because ultimately businesses are run by people. You
Mentoring,
might be
yeah.
the leader guiding them. That's about it. But you're not only guiding them, but you're also putting a lot of efforts in training them.
True.
So does that improve the longevity or the loyalty of the person towards the organization?
Yes, absolutely.
The attrition drops down.
Absolutely.
It helps
Most
it that
of my
way.
people are with me for the longest of time. Many of the ones who are working with me or close to me have been my employees of my father. So they are with the institute for around 25 years, 28 years. The oldest one is around 32 years with us right now. So I think it has worked because they see that nobody else trusted in them when I trusted them. Who's going to leave such a person? You tell me. If I go and get someone the best in the industry, he's going to always be chased. You know, like the most beautiful girl, she'll have 100 of suitors. Would you marry her?
And she ends up marrying none. And then she compromises and settles down for something substandard.
So I've found one of those rare gems as such, and you take care of them, and they are very loyal, they're very happy. As long as you don't do anything to mess things up, they would love to continue work.
Excellent. So Aldrich has a different formula. He explains, then he demonstrates, and then he delegates. That is Aldrich's formula, right?
I feel that's the way you should go ahead.
Because with a student base of more than 8,000 students, you'll be having more than 450 to 500
Yes.
staff for sure.
Yes.
So the best way of training them is you first explain to them what is expected of them, then you demonstrate, and then you delegate the responsibility to your team. So do you only delegate responsibility or also delegate authority along with the responsibility? What do you do as a...
We have a very well-defined structure. So you've got the principal in every institution, you've got the admin head, and you've got HODs below the principals, and then the respective departments that go in. Each level has a particular level of authority that is given to them by default. I will not go into a classroom and tell a teacher how to teach, what to teach, when to teach. It is your responsibility. You have 2 degrees or 3 degrees that has prepared you to do so. If I interfere with that level of authority given to them, it clouds their decision making skills. If a faculty has to decide how to treat a good learner and a slightly slow learner, it is on the faculty. It is not what I have to do and tell. You can always suggest, do some extra exercises, have some remedial things for them, or do some activities that could help them learn. But it's not forced upon them. They have the authority to do that.
So you delegate not only responsibility but also authority.
Yes.
And how would you explain this formula of yours in better words? Explain, demonstrate, and then delegate. Do you also check whether what is delegated is happening or not? Do you have a mechanism for that? Because many a times we built a perception in our mind कि ठीक है अभी एक capable बन गया, competent बन गया, and then you don't monitor him, and then that is where the accident happens.
There are audits. So there is an academic audit, there is an administrative audit.
That is
there
theoretical,
an
but how do you measure the performance of people to whom you have delegated responsibility on regular basis? You might not be able to do that for 500 people, but you might be able to do that for the key 10 or 5 or 20 people. So how do you do that in real terms?
There are set targets. There are set outcomes that we want to see. And obviously, being education, you cannot have an outcome which will come out in a month's time itself. It may take 6 months, it may take a year, it may take 2 years. But internally, if I have a delegation to give somebody, I have a target which I explain to them. Like, hey, I think that this much should be successful.
So do you match it with their capability and capacity, or do you match it with your expectations? How do you do it?
We look at their capabilities and capacity during every appraisal, and then we assign the thing to them.
It matches their capability.
It matches something that they're capable with.
Because many a times we must have witnessed this in business, that our expectations are very high from a low performing guy and very low from a high performing guy. In both the situations, it is a disappointment.
No,
and how do you avoid that?
This also becomes an HR issue. Because if there is a high performing guy, there is a tendency of people to keep giving more work to the high performing person, while the low performing person will just do the bare minimum and get away with it. So sometimes there is a shuffling of portfolio, sometimes there is a shuffling of responsibilities given to them, because you may have to, as you said, right, win or die, perform or perish.
So it is a very difficult task. You can control 10,000 machines at any given point of time, but controlling 10 people at one point of time is a very difficult task, because those are not people, those are human beings with their own egos and mindsets. So as a leader, what do you classify as a leader? What is a leadership role according to you, Vernon?
Yeah, but I just want to add something that you spoke a little earlier. When we're talking with respect to how do you monitor, right? Because after we all delegate, and I don't think me or my brother are there yet. We end up questioning, we have review systems and all of this. But my brother always mentions that if dad has given us 10 things, he'll only ask us that one thing that we've not done. Yeah. Right? So
he's a smart dad.
Yeah. So I put it in perspective that in spite of reviews, systems and this, that grey hair logic that Glenn brought about, that I think they exactly know
what to ask,
and whom to ask.
They are like the TC at the railway station. They know.
They know exactly.
Exactly. Yeah,
so they exactly know what you have skipped.
Yeah.
So we all discuss about leadership, because entrepreneur is a leader who's leading the organization to growth and glory.
Yes.
So what is your leadership style? Because everybody has like a fingerprint, a specific leadership style. What's yours?
I'll say speed, aggression, and
speed and aggression is enough actually. If you're thinking of adding something more.
I'll sum it up at speed and aggression.
Okay.
So imagine if I get onto something and I think this is a good business idea, or this is a good product, or this is a good market.
Even day before yesterday is late?
Yeah. I don't sleep at night. It keeps me awake. It's then the adrenaline is it's crazy.
But then
it's not,
one thing is being aggressive and being fast as a leader. But then how do you bring the other people on the same thought process? Like,
I think
it might begin with your brother. Also. It might begin with your brother. It might begin with your dad, and then it becomes with your top management.
Yeah.
That you have a belief system, you believe in it, and now you're adding speed to it, and aggression is always there. So how do you bring the other people to your thought process? They might not have the same speed and aggression.
So I think I'm good at telling stories as well. I
they
believe
buy the stories?
So I believe if I'm really convinced, I will self-talk for a day. I'll self-talk day, self-talk night. become the bad guy, think of all the cases. I'll have my prep work done very well, and that can be just one day. But I might just take a shower for 45 minutes just under the shower and keep thinking that only. So I just keep thinking it keeps running in my head. And once I have clarity, once I start pitching it, I think looking at the passion, the aggression in me, most of the team generally says yes. So I don't think it's anything else.
So you plan better, you are a good storyteller, and you create evidences for convincing people that this is what has happened and this is what can happen with us and this is the good way to go forward. That is what you do.
Yes. And I think generally the structure is when your team, when your dad, your brother and the team below and across other stakeholders, when they see that 10 में से 7 चल रहा है इसका हर बार, so I think then they bet on that ratio, right?
उनको चांस मिलता है कुछ put forward करने का या it's bulldoze?
No, I said that there is aggression. So
you democratically manage it well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I always tell my mom, I don't know how to bring this up, but I tell my mom,
you use that route also?
Yeah, every route. But structurally, I genuinely believe also that in love and in business, everything's fair. So
who believes that?
Who believes that? I say I believe that.
Yeah, you will believe it to your advantage. The best part about doing a family business is you have to always keep convincing the rest of the people by facts and figures and past performances. And then your conversion rates improves. So you don't need competition outside the house. There are people within the family who will shoot down your plans if they're hollow, if they're weak. So it's a great sounding board. These are the pluses of doing a family managed business. That is something which
and I also, I have a brother I can think of anything in the world. And if I convince him and he's convinced, he'll make that happen for me. So that is to my advantage actually.
Are you passing a message to him through the show?
Yeah. So I have a plan running in my head.
Reuben, what's your leadership style?
Simple. I just believe in people, and I think I have this ability of bringing out the best in people as such. So whichever team I work with, I try to ensure whoever I have,
you empower them.
Empower them, get the best in them. It's not just empowerment. Empowerment means they already know what they're capable of. 90% of the time, people aren't aware of what they are capable of doing, and it's really surprising what.
How do you make them believe beyond their capability and capacity?
One, I know what individuals are capable of. I know if I've driven myself to where I am today with the limitations that I have had, I know that anyone, if I put the same effort on somebody else, he will surpass me. So all I have to do is put that focus onto him, ensure that he's able to do it. People lack confidence. People down the line usually lack confidence. So you bring that confidence in them. You tell them.
How do you kill the fear in them? Kill the fear of failure?
Just jump into it. If they haven't learned.
Has it happened that you have motivated and encouraged somebody and they have created a loss because of the push that you gave them?
I
loss
always,
to the organization?
Very often this happens. So
And how do you recoup?
See, there are certain business losses which you have to accept. So I always say, when we experiment, because most of the time we are doing something new. For example, armoured vehicles, electric buses.
Yeah.
Now the electrician who's working on electric buses is working on 12 volt. Now when I got my first electric bus order, everyone in the company told me, let's get people who have worked with high tension power supply. Get people who are from BSCS, get people from MIDC.
Power companies
and do it. And I said, but how do they know how to operate an electric bus? How do they know the systems over here? They will not understand that. So we got them trained under them. We got our people trained in high voltages. But then finally we had to, and I told them, see, if there is any damage in material, I'm responsible. Material I'll bear for. Labor you have just wasted. Ensure you're safe. If safety is in order, there's no harm, no risk. And we've gone through situations where we burned systems, we have damaged products, all this has happened. But unless you take the risk, give people the confidence that I'm there, this is my decision. If anything goes wrong, it is mine. If it goes right, credit to your name. So people have that security, okay, whatever happens, the state ne bol diya, ho jayega.
So it's a growth cost.
It's a growth cost.
It's a part of education.
And that culture has built in the organization now. So now everyone has that thing. They know that if they've taken a decision and it's a bad decision, as long as the intent is good, every bad decision can be forgiven. Even I make mistakes. Now, just because I made a mistake doesn't mean I should now keep myself in this mold and be fearful of taking decisions, difficult decisions in the future. It's okay. I made a mistake. And that's how we go.
So Alrich, what's your leadership style?
I concur with the rest of them. I mean, come on, everyone has already encompassed
Covered what you were supposed to say.
You have to identify the best in the people that you're working with, and you need to empower them so that they can take decisions, they can subscribe to your idea, and they can take it forward. And sometimes, as you said, everyone discusses, there's also a matter of finance. You need to empower people with even some sort of at least monetary freedom, obviously to a limit, as long as they bring the proof and everything, so that they are not constrained by, oh, what will happen if I don't, or look at that person, they are doing something better by doing it in such a way. You need to give them that right as well.
So you follow leadership with the compensation route? You connect them with compensations? How do you do it?
No, it's not
Not
like
the
that.
compensation
Not
route.
the compensation part of it. I'm just saying, in case somebody is given responsibility of something, and there's a certain cost associated to it. Usually in education institution, nobody looks at the financial aspect, right? Everyone thinks teachers come, teachers go, that's it. But if they are doing something and there is a financial cost to it, there is already a policy put in place. And even then, if they need something more, they are always free to approach us. I have a very open door policy over there. So in case somebody gets stuck, they can reach out to me anytime during the day and we can take it forward.
Excellent. Glenn, what's your leadership style?
I think for me, leadership style, I prefer to be very adaptive. And like I was saying earlier, I believe in this concept of situational leadership, because I was listening to what Aldrich was saying earlier about the the point of delegation. It's very important to study who you are going to delegate this work to. Now, for example, if there is a high motivation, high performing individual, you can't micromanage that individual. It will automatically demotivate him to run out. There, you need to give him a free hand. You need to delegate him. And I'll also add to what Reuben said, even if there is a case, where they feel whether they should go ahead or not, just a simple, hand on the shoulder, like, tu kar, main hu piche. It really goes a long way, where they feel confident and they take that chance. Similarly, for a person, who is extremely knowledgeable, but having, relatively low confidence, there I think coaching, training, motivating plays a very big role.
So Glenn, we have discussed about leadership, about leading other people. But as entrepreneurs and as business leaders, how do you lead yourself? What is it that you do to make yourself a better leader every single day? Because that's also mandatory. The organization's growth depends on the leadership that you develop in yourself. So how do you do that? This is a question to every one of you, not only to Glenn.
Firstly, I see a lot of YouTube videos, that you put out to understand that. I think the best way to become a better leader is to learn from better leaders. I mean, content, reading, going through some good content, reading some good stories about some leaders, of how they came up. That is the best way with which you can become a better person. And the final way, I think, is putting yourself in that situation. Sometimes you become a leader automatically when you actually put yourself in that line of fire. Then it really shows you what you're made of. And when you come out, then you realize, that these are the certain things you may need to do. Maybe you may not be successful at that point of time, but the next time a situation like that happens, you learn from that previous experience and you come here. And fortunately, today content is out there. There is so much information that you have. You can just go anywhere. Even when you're stuck up in like you said, when you're stuck up in a situation, you can just Google it somewhere, or you can just ask a
Now
question.
you got ChatGPT.
You got so many ways that they can tell you experiences of the world of people who are in a similar situation and what they did to come out of it. So you have it ready and you can just utilize it and go
How do
forward.
you do it?
I'll tell you, this is a big challenge for, I don't know, maybe our parents.
Because many a times entrepreneurs are so consumed with the business
True,
operations
exactly.
that you don't have any time to spare to develop yourself as a leader, because it is not only training the people and building their capabilities and capacities, it is also your mindset and the growth of your way of thinking, your confidence, your outlook towards world. So how do you do that?
See, I'll
Reuben?
tell you, there's a clear difference when I was working with Mahindra and Volkswagen. You were given targets. Your boss had already predefined targets. He told you this is what you need to achieve for this quarter. for the next year. These are the things that we need to finish. And life was simple. You work hard towards this, and at the end of it, you get a rating, you get an S, or you get an A, or you get below that. But if you've done a good job, you get an S. In business, it's different. In business, it's sometimes you get up, you have to motivate yourself. You have bad days, you have terrible days, you have notices which come, you have some unexpected failures, you have suddenly your people who are not cooperating, you have your client who is suddenly moved on to another suitor, okay, and has taken the business away. And you get up with some fright and you don't know what to do. And if you're in an organization as an employee, you're shielded. There are other people to fight those battles. But when you're in business, you're fighting all those battles by yourself, whether it is legal, whether it is something with your staff, whether it is quality.
Even if you're traveling in an armored car, you're still exposed
Still
to it.
exposed. हमको तो अपनों ने मारा, औरों में कहाँ दम था?
And just when you think something is over,
Yeah,
then
something
suddenly
comes up.
something just hits you,
So,
and then you
I think
wonder
the
where
biggest challenge each one of us faces is how do you fight with your self, which is trying to come to that low energy state? How do you fight
And
with
manage
yourself?
and still manage the uncertainty.
And still manage that uncertainty.
I want to add something.
We are juggling balls every day. And if I want to take a break, if I want to take, for a week, I want to cut off, I can't cut off. There are people who are dependent on me. I can't change my job and say, let me jump to my other job, okay, and take a sabbatical for 6 months. None of that is possible. And I think this is something which we all fight through. I've spoken to a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of businessmen, a lot of youngsters my age, and we all battle the same thing. How do you keep yourself motivated? I can listen to content and it's hyped me for 2 hours, 6 hours, sometimes a day.
It's like the soda. It
Soda.
fizzles out.
Uske baad lips goes limp again, and then but that's something that you just beat every day. And, sometimes the responsibilities pushes you through. Your family that is depending on you, that pushes you. You have employees, you have staff, you have all of them are looking up to you. So when you have so many responsibilities on your shoulder, I think that's what motivates. At least that's what motivates me, and I know it motivates a lot of people around.
Excellent. Vernon.
So I think I have a little different view than what.
Express that.
Yeah, that's why
business
I
plan.
called you. That's why we had the same view. They were not all that reason. They were just do my interview.
So I think the purpose I'm in business, I'm very clear structurally why I'm in business, why I want to do what I do. So
So what is your learning curve?
I hardly require motivation from outside. I feel. I think
So this is not about being motivated. This is about being how
Learning.
you can
How do
become
I
a
learn?
better leader. How
Yes.
can you become a better leader?
Yes. So with respect to learning, one that Glenn said with respect to content that is on social media and stuff like that. Second, I like following certain business leaders. Dhirubhai Ambani being one of them. Kumar Mangalam Birla being another one. Maybe a lot of these businesses were started by his father, and that's how
Father, grandfather.
yeah, right. But the way he drives it, the recent Grasima, the Birla Office brand that he bought out, and because there are a lot of business houses in the country that also drive business through policies, but somewhere I'm of the opinion Kumar Mangalam Birla is not one of them. Structurally, the way I see the businesses he get into and certain businesses that he drives.
I'm sure he's going to watch this content.
So
We'll tag him.
yeah. so when so I think some of these when I pick up some of these acts and some of the things they do, I think I try to understand why they're doing, what is the thought process behind it. I think that really kicks me, and that really
That's your learning curve.
yes.
That's how you tune up
Yes.
yourself all
Yes.
the time. Alrich.
I agree with what Reuben started with. When you're running a business, you're the one shouldering the responsibility, and very few points of time there is somebody who will come and give you a pat on the back. Usually it's our family. It's our family that's supporting us and saying, good job, good initiative, good this. But it's up to us to remain motivated. And if we have our target set at the end of the day or whatever, I wish that this is something I achieve, then it comes naturally maybe that, okay, I have to work towards this. Okay, today I'll break it down and take something. The other day I'll break down something else and take something. It's tough to do that because there are always unexpected challenges, there are always new developments, there are always some policy change that may come in. But I feel breaking down things and giving yourself time to breathe, if possible, is a great way to develop yourself. And yes, follow some of the industry icons. You can read up about what they've done. Content is great. Content gives you also a refresher into what not
It
to do
gives you
sometimes.
new perspectives as well.
Yes.
Insights, perspectives.
Only don't tag the other business houses I spoke about, okay?
I will. You might be their next vendor.
Or if he's the vendor, he may
He
not
might
be
lose
the
it.
vendor.
You're doing anything for Opus? No, na?
He's going to pitch. That was the pitch. So, Glenn, we sometimes become very complacent with a situation. And sometimes that complacency might damage us or create a loss. Like, for example, you would have been lethargic for a demonstration to a new client. Or you were overconfident कि मुझे तो मिलना ही वाला है. And suddenly you have lost that order or that contract. So, how did it make you feel? And what was the course correction that you did? Because this has happened with you.
In fact, I was to say that it happened with me.
Yeah.
This complacency cost me, and it cost me a big thing. But see that the situation there was that we had a customer who has been with us from day one, and it's a very, very large pharmaceutical company. And they bought, in fact, the first time they started business, they bought the first machine from us. So we've had that relation from day one. So it was always taken for granted, and there was a saying in the industry, that the quotations will be taken from multiple people, but the order will be given to anchor mark. It was always that way, and for some reason, I took that internally, saying that this customer is ours, this company is ours. So we had a situation where they wanted to take trials on a new machine that they wanted to buy from us. And they send their team, generally they don't, they send their team specifically for this. And I realized later that this product was very critical. So they wanted to make sure that the machine worked in that particular style. When they came, I was there myself. And for some reason, that whole feeling that yes, this is our customer, we'll show them the machine, we'll explain, was already there in my mind. And we demonstrated the machine. Unfortunately, we were not prepared. The machine didn't run as performed. And what I kept saying was that, oh, this is a small thing, we'll take care of. Oh, this is a small thing, we'll take care of it. Not to
And you
worry.
lost the order.
Yeah. And what I realized later is that they gave a negative report for that machine, and we lost that order.
Who's
And
the company?
It was,
Which is the company?
the company was MK Pharmaceuticals.
Acha.
Yeah.
How did you course correct your relationship with them?
We made sure that the next time we took it as a situation where the machine
Where
has
is that
to
girl,
work.
na?
Anyhow, it
Shark
is.
Tank, right?
I think it is a great, learning where you realize that you can never take any relationship in the industry for granted. Finally, you may know anybody you want to know, but your product has to work.
It has
your
to perform.
It has to perform.
There is no
If
second
your
chance.
product does not perform, it doesn't give the result.
But
your
they
relations
continued.
are
But they
okay.
continued the business with
They
you.
did because we lost that order. But the next time the inquiry came, we made sure that we were well prepared.
This time with oil in your eyes,
Yeah,
huh?
this time this time with complete preparedness. I made sure that I stood there myself, made sure that everything was in place. And when they came, they saw it, they were satisfied, and things went well, smoothly.
So, Reuben, this is a financial loss.
Yes.
This is a loss that can be recovered. You can continue with the same customer. You can sell more and create the same profit that you would have lost as a loss. All of that happens. But in COVID, you lost your dad, who was the pillar of the business, pillar of the family. And in COVID, people lost business, they lost money. But you had to balance two things. You had to balance the loss of your dad, who was the captain of the ship.
True.
And you also lost business because you had to take care of the business. In spite of no business being there, you still had to take care of the business. So how did you manage that kind of a situation where one loss is irreplaceable? Nothing can happen. So how did you manage that situation?
These are losses I try to forget because a very tough time during that. I had see, there's when you have your father supporting you, like the bulk of the heavy weight is taken by him, and then you can play around, you can fool around.
Suddenly you felt your shoulders to be heavy.
And suddenly, so you have every vendor, every employee, every client who now suddenly looks at you and they say, okay, So that the entire responsibility came in. That was one. And more importantly, that emotional support that you have. It's very difficult for fathers and like for boys to gel well with their fathers as such. Like you can't discuss stuff with them the way you discuss with a brother or probably with a friend. So there's a distance that you normally keep between your father and you. But when it comes to work, there were a lot of things we could always discuss and talk about. And that sudden gap of him not being there shook me up really badly. On top of that, COVID hit. Schools were shut, so no demand from schools. The export market shut down, so no demand from export. Work from home, so nobody needs a bus to go to work. So all three of our primary businesses were in problems.
It was in a limbo.
Absolute limbo. And on top of that,
So what were your corrective measures at such time? How did your brain function, mind function, heart function?
So luckily, that was the time when India was moving into the electric markets. So 6 years back to 7 years back was when the electric business just started picking up in India. And that was when the technology became viable. Till then, the technology was not even viable. You could not have an electric bus compete with a diesel bus at a price range. So that the economics had just about started to favor the electric buses. So and there were hardly any people who could build electric buses at that time.
So you got a surge in the business.
So I won't say the surge came a little later, but we got our first push because we jumped into that. I could see nothing else opening up. Electric was this new frontier. Nobody else is doing it. Nobody has the capability.
The wherewithal to do it.
Yeah, and so I said, let's take this up as a challenge. And we started contacting companies who are interested in getting into electric, spoke to them. We found out vendors who have the tech, got everything done, and started training our people because we had to switch from convention 24 volt to 650 volt. So then get the tools in order, get the people trained, get the mindset ready. And we successfully got that thing done. And I believe even my father passed away right between when we were building this vehicle, the armored vehicle too.
The longest one, the biggest one.
Yes. So right in the middle of
For
that
the
was
government.
for the government. So then handling those challenges. But it was nice. I have to thank my mother. I have to thank my wife. I have to thank my father-in-law because they all played a very crucial role. When I lost the support of my dad, everybody
They
else
stepped in.
They all stepped in, and it didn't take me time. Where I was left hopeless and I was left afraid that what's going to happen now and how do we move ahead with this. Everyone played their part, and thanks to the support system that I had, we could move ahead.
Because as entrepreneurs, we also have to master the skill of loss management.
Absolutely.
It can be a relationship, it can be business, it can be money, it can be an employee that we might lose, and still we have to manage the scene. And the show goes on. We have to, because our responsibility is with too many stakeholders in the business.
And I just want to tell, because all of them do have their fathers with them.
Yeah.
You don't realize how important the person is
Till you lose
Till
it.
you lose.
till you lose that
Absolutely. Absolutely.
person. And like you get dreams. You feel, I wish I had one more day.
Yeah.
I wish I had another week.
Yeah.
But,
I know.
so cherish what you all have.
It's crude reality which has to be accepted.
Yes.
And continue further. So Alrich, any expensive mistakes? You're in retail, you're into Printania, printing business, and you're into education.
Mm-hmm.
Any expensive mistakes? Did you make your parents realize that you're an expensive child by by creating a good sized loss so that they realize your importance?
Fortunately not.
You have not given them that pleasure yet.
I'm not giving them the attention yet. The money that I saved by not making an expensive mistake is spent on me then. Can always work with that logic.
So it is said that expensive.
He was the mistake.
Yeah.
Father is still paying for it.
It is said that expensive lessons are the best teachers of life. Not getting them is good luck, but getting them, people have built bigger empires because they really created a loss which shook them for that point of time, but that became their biggest strength. So nothing of that has happened, because it must have happened multiple times to your dad, who's a first generation entrepreneur.
Yes. I mean, Dad has sometimes told us stories about how getting the wrong grade of paper and not checking it. If you have delegated it to somebody and that person doesn't check it while doing the job, you get the wrong job out, and the whole batch gets rejected.
And as a business owner, you have to take that shock.
And you have to take that
The
shock.
team will just say sorry.
It's very painful. Somebody, a close friend of Dad, he ventured into export markets, and there was some specification given. They did not match the specification because it was one of the softer countries for export, as they say. The whole lot was rejected because it was that one day when they decided to check the entire lot. So, expensive mistakes can happen at any given point of time. You can set up a lab, you don't protect it with the right capacity of protection device or something. That's an entire lab that can go with one power failure. So, we need to keep taking precautions, and Dad and me, and even the whole family, we always discuss, if we're investing X amount into something, or if we are taking up something like that, what are the best precautionary measures you can take to an affordable level, but it will keep us safe in case anything goes wrong.
That is how you plan it.
So I'd like to
Vernon,
add something
yeah.
saying I had few expensive mistakes. When I just started exports, because he brought up exports, and when we started as a company, we started exports in early 2020, just post pandemic, and so roughly the value of a container is about 15 lakh rupees for us. And because there was a container that got rejected in the US, I had to airship a container. So I spent 75 lakh rupees to ship the replacement of a 15 lakh worth goods.
Wow.
And I remember back then in 2020, I used to tell my dad that, Dad, I actually, the cost of this was actually a GLC, right? 75 lakhs back then.
Yeah. Mercedes GLC.
Mercedes GLC. And 3 months back, 3 containers of mine got rejected in the US. And it costed me a Maybach. So, so stuff like this.
Your dad might end up becoming an automobile engineer.
I like how he
The way
nicely
you're
says.
going, you're faster than the car. In losing it.
Sell the son, get the car.
So yes. So what happens is when work is happening, mistakes do happen. It's not that any of us are perfect, but design wise we are very clear. If it's a mistake by the organization, we stand behind the product. I think that is the message we pass on. So maybe a container or maybe 3 containers. If I have to give air shipment replacements of all of them, we do all of it.
But that's how you recoup.
I recoup. And we've seen this with customers. Whoever we've done this for, they value it as well, right? Because money to anybody is money. So I think the entire system recognizes it. If you've done this for somebody, he knows the value that you've done it for him. I think giving you business for years together, to seeing that he'll keep asking you, have you earned the money that you invested back for me? Because there was a gap. But there are a lot of times people put their hands up and say, I'm sorry.
And for a customer who's expecting delivery of product, and if you've done something like this for him, he'll remember this all his life.
Yeah.
Because his shipment ahead of his packaging is going to be effective. And you've done
Absolutely.
that for him.
So there is always a cascading effect. If one thing fails in a system, it's a chain reaction. If you fail your client has failed to his client, and so on and so forth. So like when the war started in the Middle East, I suddenly became aware about all the people that I'm dealing with and are having dealings happening in the disturbed countries. So I knew for sure that commitments from them will get jeopardized because they are going to get jeopardized over there. So as far as we are good at proactive working, it is great. And the onus is on us on how we mitigate the risk. And that's all about the foresightedness that you can have. And this foresightedness comes only out of such conversations or having some friends with you who are actually your sounding boards, and you converse and learn. It's cross-learning which helps. Not from the same sector, but cross-learning that helps. So we are just loving this monsoon menu, and it's raining. Rainy season in Mumbai is a very different experience altogether. So the climate is also very different. It matches what we are actually enjoying as the monsoon menu, and that's what Sante is always known for, trying to catch up with every season with the right reason, the right ingredients and the right dishes. So we have been served by the Konkani coconut sour and red rice bowl, which is inspired by homely tomato sour and coastal coconut, a light aromatic broth simmered with kokum, curry leaves and mustard, served with steamed red rice. And it is just fabulous. In fact, I just tasted this smoked chili paneer and pepper pot, and it was given along with jasmine rice. So, just enjoying our meal with the conversations at the table talks at Sante. And post this meal, I think we are going to be pampered with some guilt-free desserts. And I would want you to understand what is the dessert over here today. It is something that I really love. It is something which is made very differently. We are going to be having the warm jaggery malpua on saffron kheer. So it's a rice flavored warm malpua served on saffron kheer, topped with roasted nuts, rose petal dust, and a touch of sea salt. So again, that's an experience again, and I'm sure all of you guys are also enjoying what we are eating together.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Really amazing.
Amazing.
And coming from guys like you all who are so used to eating non-veg, a pure vegetarian meal at Sante will definitely be an experience to you all, right?
Good.
This
So,
is a ghar wapsi, I think I can say, yeah.
you don't
So-
expect flavors to mix in this manner. You know,
Absolutely.
I've never thought that you could get these type of flavors together.
Absolutely.
And
And
with the vada with the rice and the gravy next to it. Then the other flavor, there's another thing which we had in the red. I mix.
the Konkani Sar.
I think the Konkani sar. I can't figure out. I've tasted this flavor somewhere, but I don't know where I've tasted it with which food. But it's very interesting.
So this is, we call this as the progressive vegetarian food. We call it as a progressive vegetarian food. And whatever you eat in Sante is invented by Sante. You will not get these dishes anywhere else in any veg restaurant.
Definitely.
I heard about that. Yes.
It is absolutely invented here. So
Wow.
Lovely.
that's the speciality of Sante Spa Cuisine. And this outlet also, like every other outlet, the Sante Nesco outlet is also beautiful with this fantastic outdoors, plenty of greenery outside in the open area. It's an amazing experience. So everybody who comes in here, they love it. BKC is also great. All our other outlets are also phenomenal. But the experience that I'm talking about over here is so good. You don't feel that you're in a concrete jungle. If you look at this setup outside, it's all green,
Yeah, feels
very
very
soothing to
natural.
the mind.
Absolutely.
Absolutely soothing to the mind. So, Vernon loves to watch South Indian movies, right?
Yeah.
South Indian movies dubbed in English language so that we can enjoy. And you watch it in the original language,
I
right?
watched it in Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam.
And you enjoy that. So,
Yeah,
which is the last interesting movie that you saw?
Peddi.
Mm-hmm.
So Peddi is the
Vijay.
no, it is
Oh, the other guy. Yeah.
Netflix, right?
yeah.
Ramcharan.
Ramcharan. And I think it's on a true story and it's a nice movie. So so it's going to be dubbed in Hindi, but I can't. When these movies are out, I generally can't wait till the dubbed version is out. So I end up reading the subtitles.
But that's a better way of watching movies instead of going for the translation. You know,
No,
the lip movements don't match and you don't get a good
So one is
experience.
the lip movement, second is the emotion, right?
The emotions and the words.
So
The
I don't.
tonality.
Yeah. So when he's saying what he's saying, and I like South Indian movies also for a reason. I think in general our lives are not perfect, but their movies are perfect. Right? He can hammer 100,000 people and not get a scratch. Right? Now Hollywood will show you some reality, right? He gets hammered too, and he's somehow rengte pahunch jata. Matlab he's just made it through.
You feel happy that what you can't do is being done on the screen.
Yes. So I feel movies is something.
So that's a hobby.
Yeah,
You learn out of them?
I
You learn out of
learn a lot from them. So I also look up to this guy who spoke. I have heard him speak multiple times. Dr. Velumali, Thyro guy, and he gives a lot of examples. He gives a lot of movie dialogues.
He's a Rajnikant.
Yeah. He gives and I think movies are inspiring too for me.
I like South Indian movies because the heroes are dark like me. Okay, like the normal Bollywood, where everyone is fair. You know, they have like skin glow color and everything is really nice, well built. South Indian is more, in some ways, they are grounded to reality. Like the main actor might be a rickshaw driver. The main actor may be a local fruit vendor. And they show everyday life
Yeah,
stories.
it's viewed
also.
around reality.
Around
to
reality.
whatever great extent possible.
Besides the action.
Besides
Besides the action, everything
Insane
else is-
action. Matlab, in our dreams also we cannot have that. But they shoot it. Glenn, I think, loves to swim, read books, and and listen to music.
Yeah.
And being an introvert, how do you manage your business meetings, client meetings? How do you manage standing in exhibitions and talking to potential clients? Because for that you need to become an extrovert. So how do you overcome that shortcoming of not being an extrovert?
I think
Because for a person like Vernon, he doesn't need an exhibition.
yeah.
He can create one at the
He can
airport.
create one and he can.
Which how do you manage it? How do you manage it?
See, I feel that being an introvert is not necessarily that you cannot communicate or you cannot talk to people. It's just that you like to keep your company smaller, relatively. Like you rightly said, Vernon can go and proclaim to the whole world. He can sell anything, and I know him. He's a fantastic person when it comes to sales. For an introvert, what happens is that you have that. Yes, definitely. I would definitely say that there is a bit of fear to meet new people, to talk to new people, etc. But like I said, when you have the knowledge, when you have the information, and when you know about your product, now you said specifically how do we meet people in exhibitions, etc. When you're so confident about your product, when you're so confident about your machine, you can easily communicate that to a person because you have that information ready with you. And an introvert, in at least what I have seen, that it's not that they are low on self-confidence, or it's not that they are they are very selective in whom they speak to. They like to spend time with certain selected people. For me, when it comes to working, I can meet everybody. I can talk to anyone. I can definitely discuss things very easily. So there, I don't feel that being an introvert becomes a very problem, according to me, honestly.
So you are just 2 years old, right? As a married man. People talk big gyan about work-life balance and stuff like that. How are you managing it, the work-life balance?
I think one of the non-negotiable things that my wife has put in place is that once a week we will head out and do something. It could be a Saturday, it could be a Sunday, but we should be heading out and doing something. It could be watching a movie, could be having lunch or dinner somewhere out. And the good thing is she's very accommodating about what the activity could be. So sometimes on many weekends there may be a football match. I'm a diehard Manchester United supporter, so I will be there. Or there will be a Formula 1 race, again motorsports, so I will be there. So she's very happy to tag along and join for those kind of activities as well.
What happens if you miss the activity with her?
There's this thing called watching a movie on one side and watching your Hotstar on the other side. It's a little irritating at times, but you have to see what's happening.
So what is work-life balance according to you, Aldrich?
What is work-life balance for people who are running businesses? It's almost non-existent, I would say. Work can come up at any point of time. If you're saying maintaining a balance with life, I would probably say learning how to demarcate some time out for yourself, with your family, with your loved ones, and probably doing something with them. In our case, our family travels out at least twice a year. And we made it a point that one trip in a year is the whole family done by itself. So we get time to explore places by ourselves. We take a break away from work for some times.
And you have committed yourself that by the age of 40, you will for sure visit 100 countries.
Yes.
You have done 58.
58 at the moment.
Which is the most interesting country in the leftover list at the moment?
I would say some country in Africa.
You don't know the country.
There are names. There's Algeria I want to visit.
Is it Senegal, Zimbabwe or Tanzania? Have you listed it out or it's just a number?
I have listed it out. So next
He wants to
year-
visit Iran next.
Thanks. That's how I'll be banned from going to the US again. No, I mean
travel is a hobby.
Travel is a hobby. Travel
You
is a
love
passion.
visiting countries.
Yes.
What does it give you? It gives you learnings, insights,
It gives us
foresights.
It gives us learnings. One is it gives us a break from the same mundane or daily activity, daily routine that we have. And the second thing, I like to see new places. I like to learn about new cultures. And definitely big on cuisine over there. There are certain dietary things. There are certain things that you get over there that you don't get over here. And there are also the festivals. There are also a lot of events that happen. So last year I went to Australia just so that I could watch Oasis, the band, play live. because they were playing in the UK, they were playing in the US, but Australia was the only place possible to go see them. I went and saw them.
So that's your work-life balance. Now you have got a companion to go
Oh yes,
in the last 2 years.
yes.
Reuben, what's your work-life balance?
My father-in-law and my father both were workaholics. So my wife is used to this style of working.
So she's trained and tuned.
She's trained, already pre-trained, already factory settings. Factories already set. Factory settings are proper where I don't have to worry about it. So at least that part of life is taken care of. So life is taken care of by her own father. I have to only worry about work right now. So it's more of work, and that's true with most businesses. So there's more work as such, and between that you find time. So sometimes she wants to watch a movie, or sometimes she just wants to go out. We have a daughter who's now 11, so we want to spend time with her. So then she said, Reuben, can you come out? And one good thing about business is anytime you decide you want to move out and spend time with your family, you can. You don't have to ask anyone, you don't have to worry too much. You can just reschedule certain meetings and your work is done. So I think there are those comforts and flexibilities are there running in a business. Also, like, everything is cheaper on the weekdays. So
Yep.
you're not stuck on going only on the weekends when you have your holidays. You can go on the weekdays. Movies are cheaper. The popcorn is better. And
As entrepreneurs, as an entrepreneur, how do you manage expectations? Because expectation management is one of the toughest role for every entrepreneur, whether it is at a home, office, government, known people, unknown people, with everybody. How do you do expectations management?
expectation. I'm still struggling on that part right now.
Welcome to the club.
Hopefully you give us tips. You're married much longer than what I am. So I think that's what managing is undoubtedly tough as such. And see, we live in an age where everyone's lives are public, and the best part of everyone's life is public. So when someone looks at social media, they see the best of Glenn's life, they see the best of Vernon's life, the best of Aldridge's life, and then there's constant comparison. So like sometimes this is like, of course, way
It
back.
is one more reason for an argument at home.
Absolutely, and these are ground realities which used to happen when I just got married initially. She would say, this guy spent so much time with his wife. Oh, this guy has taken his wife out there. Oh, this guy has bought him the wife. I said, the ones you're talking about are 3 different people. Okay, show me one guy who's doing all this. I'll emulate that chap. But you don't tell me this guy is doing it and he's doing something else and he's doing something else.
I want to add here.
You married one. Go marry 4 people. You can fulfill those expectations. I'm okay with that. Okay, but let me work. Okay?
So that is a nice way of managing the expectations.
Yeah,
actually.
I think that's one way. Instead of like Muslims have 4 wives, and here I said, okay, you have 4 husbands. I'm okay with that. But leave me at peace. Okay, leave me at peace. But
Or
see,
leave some piece of me.
leave some piece. But I can't blame anyone over here, because this is the life we are living at. Her friends will compare things and tell her, oh, this is what's happened. Oh, my husband did this for me. Oh, we got this ring, and you see my new ring over there. It's bigger than yours, and the bag is flashier. And the holidays we went, we stayed in this hotel. So there's this constant comparison and constant things happening. And at the end of the day, you have to manage all this. It takes effort. It takes time. There are a lot of disputes which happen in couples, especially in the formative years. And if you can somehow wade through all of this, life is beautiful ahead.
Then you get used to it. You're talking to a very experienced man.
Absolutely.
So I'll put it a little differently by saying
Always. Whatever I say, he has to take it.
No, he used the word different.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say I don't. So I'll not call it work-life balance. I'll say work and family balance, because for me, work is a very, very big part of my life. So there are 2 things I do. One, I try whenever I'm in Bombay, because I travel a lot. So because I travel 8 to 10 days a month, or maybe 12 days a month, the rest of the days I try to be home by 5:30 in the evening, and spend a little family time in the evening. And
This is normal.
yeah.
Everybody tries to do this. What is the not so normal that you do? How do you manage the expectations?
You said different.
You don't.
No, I said differently by saying work-life balance. I put that differently. I didn't say.
So how do you manage expectations?
I don't know. So touch wood, maybe I've been lucky.
Every man feels that. That is called justification,
Not expecting.
not the truth. And on camera, we are supposed to speak the truth. So, how do you manage the expectations?
So I don't think I'm exactly managing it as he said, but trying to get there with managing expectations on the side of.
What are our expectations? Tell that first.
So the maximum expectation my wife has, I believe, is more on time rather than products or. So I can't really buy peace. Right? I see a lot of men who
That's
can.
every man's problem.
Yeah.
Otherwise, peas would have been sold at great premium. So, we would be selling peas other than food. At Sante.
So because.
If there is a misunderstanding, how do you clear that understanding?
So I think I take time out. Like I took time out today morning. I got this time out today morning for an argument that happened on Sunday.
Oh, so like customer balance sheets and customer cash flow.
Carry forward. It was carry forward.
You carry forward misunderstanding also.
So if there is a misunderstanding, so there is a time slot. But the next time slot, either I am busy or she's busy. So then we make it clear, saying, "Oh, when can we discuss this?" And it can be a Thursday evening or Thursday morning, and then we sit, discuss on a Thursday morning, and then.
And
We
what
figure
happens
that
to the
out.
argument that happens that time? That is carry forward for a further date.
No, that which on the Thursday.
So in Marathi there is a saying, मी रडायचं acting करतो, तू मारायचं acting कर. मतलब you act that you are beating me and I'll act as I'm getting hurt. So that is what you're playing with your family.
Right, yeah.
Then how do you do expectations management?
I think I'm going to be as silent as he is. I don't think that the answer is readily available as yet. I think fortunately, when you're in a family-oriented business, and where we are all working in the family business, to some extent, I think people understand when you're going to work and when you're coming back, what is the work.
No, but here we're not talking about people, you're talking about your wife.
I was
People-
trying very hard to dodge the topic towards something else.
No, people definitely understand.
I can add. I can add some. I can manage it to some. No, she's not. I can maybe manage it to some extent. My wife's family is in Vancouver, and she's a Canadian citizen. And I make sure that at least once a year she goes and spends a full month of time with her.
So that is her punishment?
Vacation. That is vacation. That is his vacation.
That
She
is
goes to
basically-
Canada. He has vacation.
That is basically a good long time out. And like he rightly said, factory reset. So everything that has happened during that time gets very well resetted there. And when she's back, things start again. And then when maybe things go out
Things
of this,
begin
then
with
one more
arguments.
ticket gets booked.
You send her in the winter or you send her in the summer?
Depends on when the argument happened.
So it's a very difficult subject.
Very,
Nobody
very,
has a
very
clear
difficult.
answer.
Yeah,
Nobody has
there's
a
no
clear
clear
formula.
answer on this.
But every entrepreneur can be successful greatly only if his home front is really well taken care of, well managed. And expectation management is getting difficult by the day. There are people who are taking external help, professional help, but expectations management is getting crazier. And as the world is evolving, as we are growing, as we are becoming more successful by the day, the expectation management role is also becoming deeper and heavier and wider and broader and deeper, everything. And it's an ongoing circus. Nobody has got the right formula, nobody has the best formula, and the people who talk about it with great philosophy and all that, they are not married. So we have to live with our own situation and keep improving it to mutual benefit, to our counterparts' advantage also. So now we come to the last last part of the session, and that's going to be, each one of you is going to be a host. So you're going to ask one question to each of the others. So we'll begin with Reuben.
I think my first question is to Vernon. I really admire the way he's with handling people, handling business, the way he has grown his business also. It's tremendous. And kudos to you, Vernon, your mom and dad, for all that, the way you all work together and the way you all are doing it. And probably that's something I want to learn from you. I'm not very good with people. especially when they are, external people, clients and vendors. How do I get better at growing business and meeting new people and ensuring that consistency remains? Any tips you have for me in my kind of work? Or you
Free
probably
session
need
hai ye. What is your best foot forward?
Knowing you, I'll answer knowing you and
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
I would advise temper management.
Okay.
Because I feel if you, as a person, with skill, with thought process, and with calculations, you're amazing. And but sometimes you get triggered or you lose it, and when you lose it completely, right? So I think if you learn to balance that,
Okay. That's a good growth.
yeah.
I'll keep that in mind. Thank you. I go
Yes,
to next.
yes.
Ajay.
Next.
Glenn, did you have any challenges with you and your father when you joined business initially, or was it all smooth sailing?
No, I don't think that I would say challenge, but definitely see when you're in the business as a second generation entrepreneur, I think it's very clear that the frequencies are different. I mean, my father and his way of thinking and my way of thinking is very, very different. But definitely when you enter the business, your first idea is you want to prove something. And the mistake I think we made, which even I made to a great extent, was I did not take time to understand the business as it is,
Okay.
its structure, its way of working, before I tried to bring in my own ideas. And but one thing is good when it comes to me and my father, and this is something I learned from Professor Parimal Merchant in one of his sessions, SP Jain. He said that conflict, challenges, misunderstandings are absolutely okay. They are good, everything is good. As long as both the people who are fighting with each other have the growth of the organization in mind and they are looking towards the future of the organization, I think conflict can be the best thing that can happen to you. The moment it becomes your personal ego and your ability to prove, that is when I think things start to go in a wrong direction, and maybe that's probably one of the biggest reasons that businesses eventually fail.
Like, conflict is equal to commitment. Someone told me long back, I can't remember who, but whenever there is conflict between close members of the family, it is because each one is committed to the organization and each one is trying to save the other for the organization.
Yeah, very true. And as long as the direction is growth, I think it works out. It does. Yeah.
Thanks. So Anuj, if
Rajesh is also there.
no, I'll come to
yeah.
him last. Save the best for last. Save the best for last. So, thing was, if you had the absolute freedom, we've seen how universities work in America, colleges work there, and you've seen the setup in India now, how things are. If you had absolute freedom of implementing certain things from those American universities in your place, what would be the two or single thing that you would implement?
Very tough question. As I said, it's a trust-based system.
Huh.
So I don't think the Indian students have still reached that level of
Trust. Maturity.
trust or maturity where you can give it to them and tell them do the best of what it is. If there was something I could do, I would definitely keep examinations not as the end result of everything.
Okay.
Why should everything that you've learned over a semester or over 4 years only be decided by your exam grade?
Okay.
An
Makes sense.
exam grade is not representative of how good or how bad the student may be.
So what is happening in the US which is contrary to what we do here? Do they do something which is different, like a continuous evaluation, or do they have a project? You submit the project whenever you want and you grade it based on that?
The lecturer or the professor has the freedom to evaluate that subject in whatever manner he or she decides is best.
I see.
So if a subject demands a project, the entire evaluation is on project.
Oh,
It's not fixed that there should be an internal, there should be a viva, there should be a project, there should be a written paper.
so assessment systems. Can
Assessment systems vary. And I think that would help do better justice to certain subjects where you should not be sitting and writing, you're a computer engineer. Why were we sitting and writing papers for C coding? We
You
studied
need a-
environmental science and we spend hours writing assignments, destroying pages of paper.
Yeah,
Doesn't make
absolutely.
sense.
Doesn't make sense.
So I would like to change that if that was possible.
Very nice. Good, good. Thank you. So, sir, I really like the way you brought food and conversations together. My business is in the auto sector. How can I get the auto sector, bus coach building, and conversations like this coming together? You know, suppose, is there some podcast idea or something that I can do?
You should start
to
a
promote?
podcast in an armored car. Where the product is demonstrated on the spot. That is one. Secondly, every business today is a hospitality business. Whichever
True,
business
true.
you are into, what is client servicing? Client servicing is nothing but hospitality.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, if you really need to connect your business and your product with whatever innovative that you can do, like for example, the table talks at Sante is a real-time experience of the ambience, of the plating, of the quality, type, and variety of food, and interesting data. So today we are living in the world of content to commerce.
Got it.
So when people love content, they indulge with you, and that leads to commerce.
True.
So that's how we are leveraging multiple businesses. Like this is also one of my business, the
Absolutely.
hospitality, Sante Spa Cuisine Restaurants business. And this inspiring conversations that we have amongst ourselves builds relationships also.
True.
So this is a situations setting where I know all four of you, but all the previous episodes that we did of the table talks at Sante, I have got one anchor, one hook, and he has got to invite three people that I don't know.
I see.
So like tomorrow we are the next one that we are having. So there is one friend of mine whom I know, and he has invited three of his friends. So by default, my network is also expanding at the same time. I get to know three more entrepreneurs who are change makers, decision makers, game changers.
Absolutely.
So that's a new relationship bonding that takes place. They get to get an experience of Sante. Many of them have been here. Some of them have not. Like he has been there. You have also been there. Here before? No, you have not been there.
No.
Yeah. So three of you all have come here for the first time. So it also breaks the experience of a new venue.
True.
All this supports the activity that you are actually doing. Life and business is all about strategy, strategic planning, and then having execution in place. Like putting up this show, I need a backup of 20 people.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot of work.
It's huge.
It's a lot of work,
Yeah,
and the work will go on for a month. One episode takes 1 month.
Wow.
So a lot of work. So similarly, your independent businesses, you need to think on how something similar can be done. So like if I am the armored vehicle manufacturer, I would hold the podcast in an armored vehicle. Direct demonstration of the vehicle straight away. Matlab, his formula. What was that formula? Explain, demonstrate, and then delegate.
Nice.
That's it.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You'll go next.
Okay,
Fast.
so Rajesh, where do you see yourself 15 years down the line? And you per se, I mean, you taking the organization in 2040.
100 companies, bare minimum, with at least 15 listed companies. That is my target for the next 15 years, clear and out. And I want to focus more on investing into D2C brands because e-commerce is the way forward. The infrastructure of the country is fully matured. In the D2C space, what you need is, you need capital. So I've written a book called Capital Beyond Funding. So there is a myth about people thinking that with only money you can grow. Money is the least of the element. What you need is money, influence, experience, and ecosystem. If you provide these four to any company, growth is guaranteed. A strategic investor will bring on board not only money, but he will bring all the four pillars together. He will bring money, experience, ecosystem, and what is the fourth one that I said? The fourth one. All these four elements have to be together for that kind of growth. So the target is simple. I operate multiple businesses, but the next 15 years is too long. 10 years target is 100 companies, majorly D2C brands, at least getting 15 of them listed at the stock market.
Alrich, do you see yourself moving away from education, or you want to, in the next 15 years, expand in education only? And so I have 15 years as a number. You can speak 7, 10, 12.
So we would like to continue with education as it goes, and the eventual goal is to turn into a university where we would probably try to enroll around 20,000 students maximum, because quality also has to be maintained, as you'd say. So education is still a growing sector because you see a lot of institutions are coming in, but diversify and adapt the education system depends on what changes from time to time. We have the new education policy, national education policy. It is still not fully implemented 6 years after the bylaws came out. So that is going on, getting into a university, getting into higher quality, getting better research. We will continue to be in education. And with printing will remain. No matter what you say, digital this, digital that. At the end of the day, today's menu card, it was sent to us digitally. It is still printed and kept here on this table. Why? Because I can touch and feel it. And touch and feel is something very important when it comes to consumer behavior.
Reuben,
Yeah.
if you have to enter one field apart from the three you're currently not what you are in, apart from that, if you have to enter one field today and you have to make a choice, irrespective, like Rajesh said, all the other four things that
Yes.
he can bring on board: capital, ecosystem, experience, and
Strategy.
and the other thing, yeah.
And strategy.
The fourth thing.
So, which is the field you'll enter today, and why?
I would. This is something which has been at the back of my mind for the very long time, and I've tried putting in efforts towards it, but I've not been very successful too, because of lack of time. I know that if I just have the right time, if I have the right frame of mind, I'll be able to jump into it. Entertainment is what I'm looking at, because finally, at the end of the day, we're getting into this world with the mobile phones in everyone's hand. The number of hours we spend on screen time, unproductive screen time, is something that I believe is a future, and it's a growing trend across the world. Today, as you said, between 45% of the world, China, India, Indonesia, Pakistan, and the US. Most of these, barring Pakistan, the remaining 4 countries are heavily mobile dependent, and the remaining 50% of the world is about to catch up to all of this. So the amount of content which will be required to keep all of them meaningfully engaged, meaningfully connected, is going to be huge. There's a lot of potential in it, and I feel this is something that we need to look into and get into, and this is something which really excites me. So what I'm working on is something on those lines, and hopefully in the next 5 years I'll have something ready to be deployed.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Wonderful.
Yes. All over. Glenn.
If you have to change one thing of your business today, what will that be and why?
Oh, you caught me off guard there, actually.
Change kar do?
Nahin,
It has to be difficult.
yeah, it is a very good question and something to think about. I think what we would like to change is the ability to increase volumes. I think machinery is a very batch-based production, where we are making specialized machines and we are in a good industry. But I think what we lack is speed, the ability to push the machines faster, to build them faster, and to create this mechanism in supply chain, where we can, because I can give you the example when I was in Seattle and we had visited the Boeing factory. We had seen it practically, the industry, that the airline industry, Boeing, if they want to, they can build an entire aircraft in less than a month. Today, my machines will still take 2 months. So the point here is that we have to find a way to speed up our ability to build machines, to become a much better player, because I know that we are in a good industry, we are having good profitability, but we need to convert now this into volumes. So that is something I think I would definitely focus on. Yeah.
Question to Vernon. If there was one thing you would give up to make sure your business had to double in a quick time frame, what would that be?
My habit of laziness. So I'm not a very structured person. I'm not very disciplined in my attitudes or structures or this. I am very aggressive. I don't work in a structured fashion, but I think if I'm more disciplined, the organization will grow much faster.
Glenn, if there was one thing you wish you would have known or done earlier that would help your either your family or your business?
I think I would put it. I think financial literacy. If I would have understood how money moves, how financial investment, how things move in terms of money, I think earlier on, it would have helped me not only in the business but also in life to a great extent. I think when we start off initially being a second generation, we ignore the fact that about the whole part of money, and because we are born, like everybody said, we are born with a golden spoon, so we don't try to analyze how money moves, how investments move, even smaller things. So I think if earlier on I had learned something more on the part of financial accounting, these sort of, and these are good technical skills which you can learn early and you can adopt, and I think that is something I would have done for sure.
Okay. So Reuben, what is that one trend in your current business line that you know about, but you're still unsure whether you should go ahead with it or you should not?
Oh. There are many verticals, and each one of them is good. So there are public-private partnerships that's currently really doing well, booming really well. In fact, that is something which we are very keen, aggressive on getting into as such. It requires a lot of investment. It requires a lot of effort. But hopefully within the next 2 years or 3 years, we'll be jumping into that business. So that's something which I'm very keen on.
Okay. And finally, to our wonderful host of today, I become the host now. If you had the available capital right now and the time and the energy, what is that one boring business line that you would get into for steady guaranteed income?
Content creation. Because I look towards that industry as a activity which can give you residual income for generations to come. Content creation unfortunately has got a little gestation period and it's heavy capital dependent. So that doesn't become a first choice. But if given a choice, content is today a common medium of communication to the rest of the world. And with AI in place, with your subtitles for people like Vernon and me, subtitles has become a language. And nobody is watching the content that they know the language of. Like I'm watching Spanish, my wife is watching Korean, my daughter is watching Japanese, everybody is watching some other content, so they are getting hooked onto. So any entertainment content, any content which is getting you hooked on for hours together is entertainment content. Even if it is a serious debate, it's an entertainment content. So that sector is something which I would like to get big time into. I'm already into it, but going to get bigger into content creation. So we'll be shortly getting into production of web series and movies and even vertical dramas.
Wonderful choice, Bharat. Spanish.
Okay,
Yeah.
my turn. Yeah. Aldridge. I think when I see St. John's today, I don't think that if I understand, I think you can go as a child in KG, and when you leave the institute, you're already an adult and ready to get married. That's the number of courses I think you all have done. It's fantastic, and how phenomenally you all have done it. My question is in two parts. One is, any other courses you feel are left that you need to add, and are you planning to open an institute? Because I know that opening the institute in Palghar, because we are close by to where you are, is an excellent strategic decision, because that is, I think, the best location, and I think the institute St. John's there is probably the best, and you get a good inflow. So do you have any plans to open a similar institute in another location?
Good question. Really good question. So as of now, we have 37 courses and counting. And we look forward to adding a few more courses, but we do a feasibility study. We see the kind of students who are coming in the area and what is the demand of that course. If the course is not available in Palghar and there are 200 students traveling from the area to a place like Bombay to study that course, then I think it's viable in opening that course, because you should also get the right faculty to teach the course. You can open any course, but if you don't have the right faculty to drive that course, it may become a flop. That's a big risk to take. Definitely, yes, opening satellite centers of St. John is something that we have thought about as a family. You know, there were proposals like, hey, why don't you open an international campus? And I said, surely, let's discuss this. We want to become a university first, establish our protocols before going and starting something out of the country or even out of the district. We don't mind. There is a lot of scope. We have children who are traveling from across the country now to study with us. So we're looking at that idea, but not now, maybe in the next decade or decade and a half.
Good answer.
Thank you.
Reuben,
Yes.
I think our industries are very similar. We are in the manufacturing industry. So maybe I'm trying to take a solution out of you for a challenge I'm facing. In manufacturing, I think what's important is getting the right part at the right time and ensuring that once you start your work, your manufacturing process, it should never stop. I mean, that's the whole idea. So how do you have any strategies in place to ensure that you get this right part at the right time, and you ensure that your process once started is completed as soon as possible?
See, both of us don't manufacture mass products. We aren't doing a standard product which every manufacturer every client requires. The same goes with me. The kind of textures that for curtains, for resins, for the interiors, dashboards, electrical fitments, wiring, lights. There are 800 parts which go into manufacturing one bus. Out of these, the carryover parts, means parts which are similar, may hardly be 300. The remaining 500 parts have to be unique to the other vehicle, are quite different. And I'm sure that's something very similar to you. There are some parts which are common standard parts, but the bulk of them have to be customized and made for somebody else. Right. And this is a problem which is plagued by everyone. Forget us. Boeing has the same problem. Airbus has the exact same problem. Because you build the A320s, and then when you're building another A330 behind it or something else behind it, you have the same challenges. And this is what the entire manufacturing sector has been fighting with throughout. If you don't have steady orders for a product, the vendor is not going to stock your product and keep. It's a cost to him. If you stock it at your end, it's a cost to you. So we're always playing this balancing act, trying to gauge the market and see what is my next order going to be. For that next order, do I have the parts ready with me, or does the vendor have the parts ready with him? The most that I try to do is I try to commonize as much as possible. So if there are minor variations, we commonize the part. If I try to convince the client that that shade of blue is almost as same as this shade of blue, I have stock of that, don't ask for this. So we do a lot of hand-holding like this. We have to convince the customers, because there are some who are very specifically say, no, that's the color which I really like, and I want it in that manner. Then there is no choice. But we normally go upfront and tell them, sir, if the more you move away from standard spec, the longer it's going to take me to deliver the goods that you want. So either you want faster delivery or you take longer delivery. The choice is yours. But if you want fast, you have to, how Henry Ford famously said, you can have any color in the Model T as long as it's black. So then something similar is what we are doing. And I think that's a challenge we will have in our industry.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So Vernon, I know you all are doing fantastic exports now, and especially to the United States. And with this recent uncertainties that have happened, especially with the tariffs, where things are very volatile, how do you adapt to this challenge, and how do you, go about overcoming it?
So as of now, touchwood, things have been great. Basically, because as I said in the start, when Rajesh asked me what is the differentiating factor, right? I think it is about the relationship. The relationships I've created in the last 3 years or last 5 years, I was so confident that the day the tariff goes off, irrespective of whatever the price the client is buying from any part of the world, he's asked anybody to put factories or anything. The day the tariff will go off, the next day he'll call me. So that's the relation that is built, and that's the confidence we had. That is why I think stuff like this gives us strength to invest further, take on debt, and grow. And I think this is the only thing that gave us more strength.
I think that's a good answer. I mean, in whatever be the situation economically, I think finally your relations matter. And the best for last. So Rajesh, I know that you're a serial entrepreneur, a serial investor, and if my number is right, I think you're investing close to at least 30 businesses now. 22. Tell me that one deal breaker or that one deal breaking factor where either you're in the business or you're about to enter into the business, that one deal breaker which tells you, I'm out of this.
It is very clear with me that I will have 10 points put up for a transaction. If 9 match and if 1 doesn't match, I back out.
Okay.
So there is need, but there is no greed. So I have walked out of many transactions. Even if 1 point is misunderstood or intentionally misunderstood, or somebody's tried to change the term at a later point, then I quit. And I've lost a lot of money by taking such decisions of exiting, but I've exited. Because for me, what happens is once you have been taken for a ride or once there is fluctuation in the other person's mind, it will always be an uncomfortable relationship. So it is better to cut loss and move on with the next one. And no regrets, zero regrets. So I'm very clear with my points and very stern with them. I don't compromise because I know what I am, what I can bring to the table, what my money can do. So I stick to my guns. And whatever might be the transaction, however lucrative it might be, on the face of it before I getting into it, that will not create a judgment in my mind. My judgment is my work, my comfort of working. If my comfort of working is disturbed even by 1%, I will not do it. I'll back out.
And you make these points clear from the beginning.
In the first meeting, I am not a 100 meetings guy. Another rule that I follow is 1 transaction, 1 meeting. So now anybody comes to meet me, I tell them in advance, do your homework and come. The yes or the no will happen then. If you stand up, the deal is off. I will मम्मी को पूछ के आता हूँ, पापा को पूछ के आता हूँ, nothing. जो पूछना पूछ के आ जाना. So I have sat in a transaction and this has helped me. This attitude has helped me. In 2008, I was negotiating for a property in Dubai. It's called Dubai Triangle and Jumeirah Triangle. And there were 2 buildings of 49 stories each. I was underwriting 1 building. In 2008, I was underwriting 1 full building, which was more than 100 crore transaction at that point of time. 5 of my friends and me and 5 of my friends were going to do that together. We had a 6.5 hours meeting. And when I sat on the table, I told the guy that we will decide and then get up. So there was 6.5 hours. There was not even a loo break. Nobody even got up to piss. I said, "Ud gaya to sauda folk." Folk means not done. So the negotiation began. He started from 2,000 dirhams. I started from 1,100 dirhams. I stopped at 1,300 dirhams. He stopped at 1,500 dirhams. So there was a gap of only 200 dirhams. And my friend who was sitting with me was nudging me. I said, "Nahin, 1,300 is top. Or we don't do this deal." And the deal didn't happen. 6.5 hours later, I stood up, shook my hands. I said, "I will get better customer for my money and you will get better customer for your project. I wish you all the best." I got up from there, came to Bombay. As I landed, I took up a project in Bombay. There was a negotiation which was pending. From the airport, I straight went to that transaction. I concluded that transaction. So the money which was to be paid for the Jumeirah project got paid over here.
Wow.
And that plot, today's 2026, is still a plot.
Wonderful.
After 3 months, the 2008 Lehman Brothers collapse happened. We would have been the first ones to collapse if we would have taken the project. And then later on, there was nobody touching that property even for 500 dirhams. Forget about 1,300 dirhams. So at times, such decisions have helped me. At times, I have lost money. How I have lost money? I commit a transaction. I get into the transaction. My speed of investment is rocket. If I decide now, tonight, disbursement will start. Deployment will start. After 15 days, I understand that he wants to have an afterthought. The one thing that I don't accept in business is an afterthought. No afterthought. Then whatever is decided is decided. So many a times people get afterthought after a couple of days. Looking at my speed, sometimes the other person starts thinking कि मेरी lottery लगी. मतलब he has done a kacha deal. It is my lottery. So they become a little dicey. The day I come to understand that, I stop it there itself. So now I have run that journey. My money is deployed.
Right.
I have to book it and stop it. but I do that. So that was a very interesting, inspiring conversations on the table talks at Sante, and 4 young entrepreneurs, different industries, working globally, working nationally, and working at a scale, all second generation. That's the reason we also covered the relationship with the parents who have started as the first generation. So there is a lot of content that you can really enjoy. This was very interesting and very exciting and very different from the normal conversations that we have. I'm sure a lot of you are going to get insights and solutions to already incomplete conversations in your minds and in your hearts. And that is the core objective of the table talks at Sante. If you're an entrepreneur doing something different, and if you're a game changer, do get in touch with us. You can write to us on agnelorajesh.com. Apply to be a part of the table talks at Sante. Your profile will be checked by the team. And if you fit the bill, you'll be sitting on the same table, having this conversation and enlightening people to what they need to know first, or reassuring them that what they are thinking is in the right direction. And that's the core objective of creating such kind of a content. So Glenn, thank you so much. Vernon, thank you so much. Ulrich, thank you so much. Reuben, thank you so much for being a part of this journey. And this content is captured in perpetuality. So this content will be there forever. And it is a great memory that we will cherish for the rest of our lives.
Thank you
so
Rajesh.
much.
Thank you so
Rajesh.
much.